levels. As in the context of diabetes, which I deal with, I often say diabetes is too serious to be left to a diabetologist alone. Because you have to have cultural inputs, you have to have social inputs, you have to have also the contribution from the NGOs, and so also is the case over here. Because this, as you said, we have seen parents not disclosing their child being addicted to drugs, and then ultimately themselves having the maximum suffering on themselves itself. So that is one part of it, preparing the masses, the common citizen, to address the issue without having any inhibitions. A, B, reaching out by those who are entrusted with the responsibility of providing this facility. And C, as I said right in the beginning, more and more of preventive mindset, preventive healthcare mindset, which has started happening in India, but it was not happening till just about 10 years back.
You have been a practicing doctor yourself for many, many years. What do you think is the role that the medical community can play in terms of raising the awareness about the vaccines related to diseases like cervical cancer?
No, I'm glad most of the organizations or medicos have now taken upon themselves such kind of activities. For example, among the physicians, we have the Association of Physicians of India, which is one of the largest physicians organization in the world, which was founded by Dr. B.C. Roy himself. Then we have the Indian Medical Association, which was again started during the British times. That's why the headquarters still continue to be in Kolkata. What I'm trying to say is that they have now consciously diverted themselves to the public activities. It's no longer confining only to the academic lectures. We have now categorized public lectures, public seminars separately. And now also there's a closer collaboration with government sector by the private sector. They're no longer working in isolation or working in silos. And the NGOs are also coming forward. So I think there's much of awareness happening across the sections of society, and that is going to create an ecosystem which is already started.
I am very grateful that during the middle of a very busy time, during the middle of a parliament session and regular meetings of the cabinet, you could find time to connect with the NDTV viewers, with our audience.
Thank you, Nico. This is part of our collective responsibility, duty towards the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Also at the conclave, together against HPV, the fight against cervical cancer, was Dr. V.K. Paul, member, Niti Aayog. Joining us today to share insights on India's HPV vaccine rollout strategy, the vision, challenges, opportunities, and next steps in India's fight against cervical cancer, we're joined by Dr. V.K. Paul, member, Niti Aayog. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. I think to begin with, as a key architect in India's immunization programs, I want to ask you if you can tell us the status of the HPV vaccine integration into India's national immunization program and what really is planned for the phase of the rollout of the vaccine.
Well, as you're aware, the introduction of HPV vaccine to prevent cancer cervix, the primary prevention of cancer cervix, this commitment was given in the budget speech by the Honorable Finance Minister. The government is working in planning it out. Technical details as well as practical details, practical strategy is being worked out.
Sure. When you say, of course, we know prevention, right? And then it's screening, early diagnosis, treatment, awareness. Do you still think there's a gap? And very often one is aware, one knows they need to go to the doctor, get a checkup, but the action is delayed. How can we bring about that change?
Demand. We should spread the word so that we ask for timely screening and, of course, timely vaccination. That's something that should be known to everybody. And the age at which this should be known and I should feel responsible for is the age after 30 years of age, 30 years, okay? We must also emphasize that once this cancer is detected, it's covered under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Ayushman Bharat, PMJ, covers this condition. Cashless treatment of this cancer is mandated.
I think that's a very important point, which again, there's not much awareness about. Niti Aayog clearly works, as a think tank. And we've seen many states have rolled out the vaccine. There's Sikkim, there's Bihar. But if I can ask you as a strategy, because that's what we're talking about, any lessons that you would like to share which some states have done, not just vaccination, but just generally where prevention, how they're dealing with cervical cancer?
States have demonstrated, let's say, two things. One, that it is possible to scale up HPV vaccine in a systematic, safe manner, but more importantly, they have also surmounted and found ways of addressing the concerns that come up when such a strategy, is truly rolled out, because people have questions, people have misconceptions. At times there is misinformation, infodemic that we've experienced from time to time. So the states have learned, how to technically and for execution, they found the pathways to do it. So the learnings are available in that aspect. But more importantly, when you do it, we should not succumb to undue concerns which do not exist. We should be clear about the, quote-unquote, side effects, if any. And also, we should have confidence in the minds of people that this is something for their good,
Yes.
This is trustworthy, this is based on science, it is safe, and it is in the larger interest of the people.
There can never be one-size-fits approach, especially in a country like ours. How does one create community-based approaches to reach our diverse populations, whether it's the geographical location, cultural, socio-economic? I mean, we have a lot of that in our country.
The nation runs the biggest immunization program in the world.
Yes.
And we could, scale up the COVID-19 vaccination program of 220 crore doses because we had the learnings and the foundation and the fabric of universal immunization program. Time has come that we use those capabilities, that experience, that strength, and then take it to scale, both from vaccination point of view as well as screening point of view. But we also not forget that we have a huge base of producing vaccines.
Yes.
We are
we've seen that.
the vaccine maker of the world,
Yes.
for the world. And therefore, we are in a very unique position of having access to vaccines, our own vaccines, all the way, end-to-end treatment of most of our women who would harbor this disease. And therefore, when all these things have come in place, as society, all stakeholders, media included, should come together
Yes.
to act on all the points.
I think that's really well put. Everybody needs to come together, work together, all the stakeholders in this fight against cervical cancer. You spoke about the ASHA workers. They've been with us. They've been interacting. They've been telling how they've been trained. It's really a pleasure to have you with us on NDTV. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Honored to be here. Thank you.
Maha Kumbh, the festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip at the spiritual Sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha Kumbh 2025.
Kind attention, please. Delhi Election Metro 2025 is arriving on People's Platform.
Please mind the gap.
BJP or AAP, who will get to the Delhi Secretariat station?
दरवाजे बाईं तरफ खुलेंगे.
Who will Delhi voters open the victory doors for? And who will be shown the door? Can the BJP throw AAP's victory run off track? Or will it be Kejriwal's ticket to win again? Can Congress take the election metro to revival? We will track it all for you. Delhi's decision destination.
Doors will open on the left.
Stay tuned to NDTV for Mega Metro poll coverage.
the discussions was an overview of why the burden of cervical cancer is so high in our country, India, and what can be done to reduce it.
When we talk about the burden that cervical cancer has on our society, Dr. Tang, I'd like to start with you. And we have the preventive means, we have the vaccines, we have the screening, it can be dealt with, but why is the burden so high then in our country?
Well, in a word, I would say the burden is very high because we are not availing the full benefit of what is already available to us. It's multifactorial. It has to do with the fact that there is a certain amount of vaccine hesitancy, there is a lack of awareness, and I always say this, that there is too much concentration on side effects rather than effects. When you talk about vaccines, unfortunately, the conversation seems to revolve around the potential problems with the vaccine rather than the massive benefits which accrue from vaccination. And I think as a community, and I'm not really talking about doctors alone over here, I'm talking about as a community of doctors, advocates, policymakers, we perhaps failed in a way to drive the narrative in a way which ensures that people are more accepting of the way the vaccine is given, and perhaps have failed to create a demand in a way for the vaccine. So you remember COVID, I'm sure all of us remember COVID.
How can we forget?
We were so eagerly waiting for that vaccine,
yes,
right? So we have in a way failed to create that demand within the community and tried to, raise the awareness in a way in which a girl, so let's say for example, if we could pitch a campaign to say that the best birthday present you could give at 10 or 11 years of age is the HPV vaccine. We haven't really done things like this to raise awareness at a community level, and perhaps that is one reason why we have this burden. The second reason, of course, is also the gaps we have in our healthcare structure, both in terms of human resource as well as capacity in infrastructure. We need to urgently fill these gaps, but I think it all begins with vaccination. Because if you prevent it in the first place, then you perhaps will have a reduced need of all of this thing going down the line. There is also the problem of screening, and in a way the taboo which surrounds the topic of cervical cancer vaccine. I suppose in a way it's because in a way it's associated with sex.
We will be speaking, to the Health Minister of Sikkim. We'll also be speaking to the Health Minister of Bihar. But how do we get other states also to include this vaccine as a part of their immunization program? And, we spoke about the COVID drive. How do we do this kind of a drive for this vaccine?
Yeah. So, a lot of important points have been made. One of the key things which is emerging is in terms of creating awareness. And I think unless the government steps in, things are likely to be slow. It is important because if a demand is to be created, simultaneously the product has to be available, the supplies have to be available. So that mismatch should not be occurring. So if we are not just talking about private market, we are talking about everybody. And therefore, this whole issue to come up in the National Routine Immunization Program is critical. Although the government did talk about that they will encourage and facilitate immunization against HPV, but we do not have a very clear direction coming up, policy direction, that as and when the vaccine will be available. But as far as I understand, one of the major bottleneck at the moment is the availability of adequate supply so that it can come in public health. I just told you the requirement. We have an annual birth cohort of girls which is equivalent to 13 million. 1.3, 1.5 crore children are there in every girls. So that is something which is very important. And then if we have to catch up do a catch up, then we have those huge number accordingly. And which I mentioned that even if I go one third, we require huge amount. The second important which is coming up, and I would request those who can afford, that the boys in the family should also be immunized. A
Yes.
gender-neutral approach is very necessary. At the moment, our country and a lot of other low and middle income countries are not going in, not so much for finance, it is the non-availability of the vaccine. But a gender-neutral approach will take care of a lot of this stigma issue. कि खाली लड़कियों को मिल रहा है, why not boys? लड़कों को क्यों नहीं दे रहे? And the key issue is that it is a sexually transmitted disease. उसकी जगह if we say कि ये कैंसर से बचाव की है, and which Dr. Tank was very rightly mentioning, I think that's a very important point because a lot of communities have this pushback if you start talking about sexual transmission of this. Another very important point is that I wanted to say this, and that is another, that when we talk about sexually transmitted, and I'm sure the gynecologists must have come across, many husbands throw away their wives if they come to know if she has a cervical cancer, because they think it's a sexually acquired disease, rather than understanding that they are the contributor to that. So, इस सारे के लिए this gender neutral approach is very necessary, but the first approach, because of the limited available of vaccine, we shall be moving for girls only, but those who can afford, I think boys should also be given so that it takes care of. But the key at the back of the whole thing is that unless this program comes in national program, I think movement will remain slow.
The next conversation centered around awareness and education and how they lead to action which is indispensable to elimination of cervical cancer. To translate awareness into action, messaging must be simplified, misconceptions addressed, and accessible resources provided. So in this panel, we focus on how awareness and education leads to action, which is indispensable to elimination. So I think, to begin with, I would like to just ask you about awareness. How do you sensitize them about something so crucial, whether it's vaccination or spreading awareness?
The physician, the treating physician will have to spend time, that one-to-one connect with the parent and the child is must. For that, the important thing is that we'll have to build a relationship, first of all, and then telling about the facts about the vaccine. When we talk about HPV, then that disease is not happening to the adolescent or teen at that very point of time. But when you will tell about the importance of prevention or vaccination at this point of time, and thereby preventing the disease during adulthood, for that the important aspect is that we'll have to tell the facts, what are the numbers, and how does immunizing children at a particular age is much better than immunizing them later. Then aware about the value of investing at this point of time by vaccinating the child or the team at this point of time, thereby having the good revenues subsequently when the teen grows up. So this is one very important thing. Second thing is to have a trust on us. How? Telling them our own stories. Telling them that, okay, our children has also received it. So one is that you will have to tell the facts and figure. Another thing is that you will have to tell them that, okay, this particular disease is really life-threatening.
Yes.
And not at the older age, but even in the young age group also they can suffer. Not only why this is important, but how it is going to help in reducing the healthcare burden, the cost, when we are talking about the disease which is happening at the later age group. Then what is the cost which is going to incur? Not only the cost for the individual family, but also cost for the whole society.
Yeah, so more of a preventive approach.
Absolutely,
right
from the beginning, this is important.
So now, Mridu, if I could just come to you, we've heard, from the doctor's perspective, from a school perspective, as an educational institute, you're doing a lot of work on ground. What solution do you think would be sustainable when it comes to awareness? Because that really is the need of the hour for cervical cancer.
There's no one solution for what would work. But, you know, when we have gatherings like this, everybody here is from the fraternity. So you have this very knowledgeable discussion about cervical cancer or the vaccine. But if you go into community, it could even be a corporate office. Nobody will know about cervical cancer. There will be nobody who will raise their hands. Nobody would be vaccinated, or less than 1% people would be vaccinated. So the fact is that we need to create more conversation around cervical cancer to even get started. We might have it available at the doctors' clinics. The government might be able to source their 30 million vaccines. But who is coming to take those vaccines? The doctor can only give you awareness if the woman comes to the doctor's office. So how do we get people to the doctor's office? How do we get them to hear that? That is the challenge. And in India, we have to contextualize. We've learned from global practices and we know what works, and there are lots of countries doing it. But in India, aaj bhi, oral, word of mouth is how information passes. So that messaging needs to be standard, that HPV vaccine is cancer prevention. It prevents against 6 types of cancers. We are starting with girls because the cervical cancer burden is high. Cervical cancer vaccine is safe and effective.
Simple
enough
messaging,
information
but effective
that
messaging,
much.
yeah.
That is enough information for her. Now the challenge here is that the vaccine is for from 9 to 14, right? If it was like the polio vaccine and the child was below 5, they would be coming to the doctor anyway. Or फिर you don't have a choice. तुम्हें वो देना ही है. Polio drops हम कितनी देते थे अपने बच्चों को. Every time you go to the doctor, they give you polio drops. And then the Asha worker will come and give you polio drops at home if your child is below 5, right? वो नहीं होगा इसमें. This and the child is 9 and above. So does the child go to a pediatrician? Does the child go and see a gynecologist? Will the child be going to a doctor at that age at all? Vaccines तो खत्म हो जाते हैं by the time they are 5 or 9. So there are lots of challenges. Let's not underestimate the challenge of this vaccine's uptake.
Yeah.
We want to save girls, right? We lose one woman, we say, every 8 minutes. It's not just a statistic, it's a woman's life. By the time I finish speaking this, we would have lost one woman somewhere.
True.
So who's going to make decisions for her? How do we save her life? So we need to all work together. Like we've said so many times, collaboration.
Yes, it has to be together.
Standard messaging and getting it to the right people.
Thank you all so much for coming and sharing your expertise as well as your stories. So it's very clear that awareness is indispensable to elimination of cervical cancer, because only when people are aware will they act. Thank you all so much. Every 8 minutes, a woman in India loses her life to cervical cancer. A devastating reality, but one that is preventable. To combat this, a collective effort is crucial, involving governments, healthcare providers, community leaders, private organizations, and individuals. For more insights on eliminating cervical cancer, including conversations with state health ministers and experts, tune in next week for another episode from our conclave, Together Against HPV, the fight against cervical cancer.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital, Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Maha Kumbh, the festival of faith. The world's biggest spiritual festival. The divine dip at the spiritual Sangam. A sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha Kumbh 2025.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future.
Saif Ali Khan's attacker is still on the run. 30 cop teams formed to arrest him. Over 15 individuals brought at the police station for questioning overnight. Saif Ali Khan is out of ICU, advised a week's rest. Kareena Kapoor recalls her statement with the cop, says she saw the attacker attacking Saif repeatedly. Our Sessions Court will deliver the verdict in the Arjikar case today. Remember, the CBI had charged the accused Sanjay Roy in the rape case. A day to go for Donald Trump's swearing in. The inauguration has been moved indoors. Israeli cabinet approves Gaza ceasefire accord. Hamas expected to release hostages tomorrow. India will announce its Champions Trophy squad shortly. The press conference is expected in a little while from now. Jasprit Bumrah likely to be among 15. Rohit Sharma retains white ball captaincy to address. He will also be joined by Ajit Agarkar in the press conference. Now, in the latest revelations in the Saif Ali Khan stabbing incident, more than 48 hours have passed since the Bollywood actor was attacked, but the accused remains at large. 15 plus individuals have been questioned overnight, including statements of all the staff, auto rickshaw driver and Kareena Kapoor as well. In her statement, Kareena has said that the attacker was very aggressive and attacked Saif repeatedly. However, he did not take any valuables from him or from their house. Considering the gravity of the case, Mumbai police and the crime branch have formed 30 plus teams that are actively searching for the accused. Fresh visuals of the actor's suspected attacker from a day after the incident pardon me, surfaced, in which he was seen wearing a blue shirt. In the first visual, the intruder was seen wearing a black shirt. In the visual, the attacker was seen climbing down the stairs with a quick glance at the CCTV camera installed. The attacker, however, is still at large. Doctors said that Saif Ali Khan is recovering after being stabbed and has been moved out of the ICU. The crime branch cops right now are at Saif's house. I'm joined by my colleague Abira for more on this story. Abira, let me pick up from the fact that the crime branch cops are at Saif's house. What now are they trying to look at? And if you could just tell us, what more do we know from the several statements that have been recorded overnight?
There have been total 30 statements that have been recorded till now, and still they are recording statements right now. They are at Kareena Kapoor and Saif Ali Khan's residence, and they are trying to get evidence, speak to more people as much as they can, check where he entered from, how did he do it. They are all figuring it out, but they are not ready to talk to the media yet. The police is numb, but it has been 48 hours and no arrest has been made yet, and that's a thing to worry. Last he was seen at the Bandra station, train station, and it is said that he might have fled towards Virar or Nala Supara.
So there have been teams sent that side. There are 30 to 35 teams that have been made by Crime Branch who have been sent in different directions. So that's what is happening right now. But other than that, Kareena has recorded her statement, which was a very important thing to be done. The police officers went to her residence to record her statement, where she said that whatever she saw, she told the police that the attacker was very aggressive, and she saw her husband getting attacked over and over again. But also she said that it was the most important, or the priority was to take Saif to a hospital immediately, and that's what exactly happened with Taimur, Saif Ali Khan, and there was another person, like the auto rickshaw wala, told us that there was one person with Saif and the little child who was Taimur. They headed towards Lilavati Hospital, where when he entered, he was completely drenched with blood, and that's what the doctors also told us. He entered the hospital like a lion. He walked in and he walked into the OT like that. The two major surgeries were done. One was the neurosurgery, where from a 2.5-inch knife was taken out from his back. But the doctor said that, he was very lucky that the knife didn't touch his spinal cord by 2 millimeters. And that saved his life, and there's no risk of paralysis now. They made him walk. He's out of the ICU, and he's recovering well, but they have said there is chances of infection, so we are restricting visitors from visiting him. So since morning and yesterday also, we have seen only family coming in to meet him. We have seen Kareena Kapoor, Sohali Khan. Today morning they have come to meet Saif, and they're all inside. That's the update right now. We are still waiting when he will be discharged, but the doctor has said he needs rest for at least a week and a complete bed rest, and the discharge will depend on how well he's recovering.
Thank you very much for getting us that report, Abira. Let's also listen into this report that has been sent to us by our colleague Sujata.
The 35 teams formed by the Mumbai police as well as the crime branch so far have not been successful in getting their hands on the intruder who attacked Bollywood actor Saif Ali Khan at his residence late night at 2:30. At this point, there have been several CCTV footages that have emerged in which the accused in the case could be seen changing his clothes and changing his locations as well. First, the CCTV that emerged, it was of the staircase of the building of Saif Ali Khan, in which he could be seen walking up the stairs and then coming down. However, in the second CCTV that has come out, it could be seen that the accused has changed his clothes and is moving towards Bandra railway station. And the third CCTV footage is of a mobile shop in Dadar, where he could be seen purchasing some electronic items. At this point, every CCTV footage is being investigated by the crime branch as well as the Bandra police to find out what exactly transpired, and is there any previous link of the Bollywood actor's house help with this accused who is still absconding. There have been several questions that have raised right from the security of Saif Ali Khan's residence to why there was a delay by the police in responding to this entire matter. At this point, it is the Mumbai police assuring the family of action in this case to be taken seriously and at the soonest, and statements have been recorded right from Shahid, who happens to be a person who has a history of conducting theft at the residence of people and also has facial similarities to that of the accused, which could be seen in the CCTV footage. And also Waris Ali Salmani, who is a carpenter who worked just 3 days prior to this case happening, to this incident happening with the Bollywood actor, has also been questioned in the matter, and sources informed that the Waris Ali Salmani, who happens to be the carpenter, could also be investigated further if any more questions arises. However, Shahid at this point in time has been given a clean chit because his fingerprint does not match with the accused, and henceforth he's been given a clean chit for now. However, the Mumbai police is trying to investigate and question and record statements right from the house helps and also the statement of Bollywood actor and wife of Saif Ali Khan, Kareena Kapoor Khan, has also been recorded, as well as the neighbors of Saif Ali Khan are also going to be not investigated, but the statements are going to be recorded. So definitely all the angles are being at this point studied by the crime branch as well as the Bandra police station. However, what exactly comes up and how many more time does it take for the police to get their hands on the intruder remains a bigger question. But yet the investigation is still on, and at the soonest the statement of Saif Ali Khan will also be recorded.
Right. Thank you very much, Sujata, for getting us all those details. Now, also let's listen into this exclusive conversation with the auto driver who reached Saif Ali Khan to Lilavati Hospital on the night of the attack. My colleague Paras Doma caught up with him.
सर, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। उस दिन क्या हुआ था, कितने बजे आपको किसने रोका और आप पूरा मामला क्या हुआ था वो बताएं।
जी सर, मैं अपना जैसे बार्डर पे रोड लिंकिंग रोड से होते हुए गलियों में जा रहा था, ठीक है, जहाँ इनका रूम है, सतगुरु करके निवास इनका है, बिल्डिंग है, इनका नाम है। मैं इधर से निकल रहा हूँ तो उसके बाद में एक लेडीज़ आगे से आती है, बोले रिक्शा रिक्शा रिक्शा, बाकी गेट से आवाज़ आ रहा है रिक्शा रिक्शा, रुको रुको रुको, ठीक है। अब वो थोड़ा मैं गेट से आगे ही बढ़ जाता हूँ, बट फिर मैं बोले रिक्शा लगाओ लगाओ, गेट पे लगाओ लगाओ, फिर मैं यूटर्न मार के गेट पे लगाता हूँ तो उसमें 2-4 खड़े यानी लोग निकलते हैं, तो उसमें एक यानी कि वाइट कमीज सलवार पहन के पूरा एकदम बिल्कुल खून से लदा हुआ है, बिल्कुल रेड कलर का पूरा दिख रहा है वाइट वाइट। तो देख के उसके बाद जैसे घाव लगा है कि बोलो चलो ठीक है बैठो बैठो बैठो, तो बैठाया गया। उनके बाद एक बच्चा बैठा उनके साथ में, एक यंग आदमी जो थे उनमें साथ में बैठे गए, तो बोले चलो हॉस्पिटल लेके चलो। हॉस्पिटल का डिस्टेंस नहीं हुआ था। उसके बाद में फिर जब गार्डन पार करने के बाद बोले कि अपना होली फैमिली चला जाए कि अपना लीलावती, तो साहब बोले कि लीलावती लेके चलो, तो फिर वहाँ से फिर मैं उनको सीधा लीलावती लेके गया।
और नीचे कौन आया था जब ये पूरा मामला हुआ? उस समय नीचे कौन आया था? किसने, किस व्यक्ति ने जो है आपकी रिक्शा में सैफ अली खान को बिठाया और आपको कैसे पता चला कि सैफ अली खान है?
नहीं, सैफ अली खान उधर हमको नहीं पता चला, क्योंकि वो तो ऐसा था, गड़बड़ मेरे को भी हुई, जैसे कोई मार लगा हो, कोई इमरजेंसी जो हो जाता है, मारामारी होता है तो आदमी घबराहट होती है कि कैसा कैसा क्या पैसेंजर बैठा दिया मैंने, ऐसा कोई मारामारी हो, कहीं हमको तो दिक्कत नहीं होगी कोई, तो हमको भी घबराहट हुई। तो उसके बाद में देखा गया, तो जब वो वहाँ पहुँच गया, मैंने फटाफट पहुँचाया जाए इनको, जो ठीक ठाक इनको जैसा ट्रीटमेंट टाइम से मिल रहा है। उसके बाद मैं देख रहा हूँ तो उतरने के बाद तो गार्ड खड़ा था, गार्ड को बुलाया गया, बोले इधर आओ, और आया। उसके बाद बोला कि फटाक से स्टाफ लोगों को बुलाया जाए, मैं सैफ अली खान हूँ। तब मुझे पता चला कि ये सैफ अली खान है। हाँ जी सर।
Time now for a very quick break on the show. More on the other side. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to the best of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
For 2 decades, NDTV has been a window to the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, Nobel laureates and stars at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
From Bill Gates to Shakira to Randy Zuckerberg to top ministers to what is often the biggest story, India, a global economic powerhouse. Conversations around our greatest challenges, from AI to wars to sustainability. Join us, NDTV's Vishnu Shom and me, Neeraj Shah, as we engage with the world's finest. NDTV at Davos from January 20th to January 25th.
All set for Trump 2.0. Countdown to January 20th. Terror shadow, visa wars. All the twists and turns. Tracking Trump takeover. Every day at 10:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
The Delhi polls, now there has been a row over the screening of a documentary that was stopped, and AAP alleges that there was a BJP hand in the movie being stopped. The Delhi police of course says that there was no permission taken to screen the movie called Unbreakable, where AAP documents the arrests that were made due to the liquor policy. Cops have cited that these were guideline violations Kejriwal, of course, says that the film exposes certain secrets, and BJP is scared of those secrets coming out. Delhi police said that the Aam Aadmi Party must follow the poll SOP because right now there is a code of conduct in place. My colleague Shreya gets us this report.
Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal was questioned during a press conference regarding a movie screening which is named Unbreakable, a documentary based on the alleged wrongful arrest of the Aam Aadmi Party leaders and the kind of struggles they went through and the resilience of the leaders. The party wanted to show this documentary to the journalists, but this morning the BJP allegedly deployed a large number of police forces and ensured that the movie screening does not take place. Mr. Kejriwal criticized the BJP for not allowing the screening of the movie, for deliberately stopping the screening, and he also questioned that if Mr. Narendra Modi can screen his film, if that can be allowed by the EC, then why cannot this documentary be portrayed, be showcased to the journalists, to the media, stating that this is not part of an election campaign. Apart from this, Mr. Kejriwal has also announced a significant promise to all the tenants living in the national capital that they will now be getting free supply of electricity and water if the party gets re-elected in the upcoming Delhi Assembly elections. With camera person Sanjay Kaushik, this is Shreya for NDTV.
Now, ahead of the Delhi Assembly elections, we bring you our special ground reports with key constituencies. Greater Kailash seems like a tough battle where the poll issues of traffic congestion and sanitation take the center stage. Take a look.
Hello from Greater Kailash, an elite Delhi constituency known for its upscale residential areas, iconic markets and cultural landmarks. As the voters head towards the upcoming Delhi Assembly polls, the key question that remains is, will the Aam Aadmi Party continue its reign over here, or could a shift in the political winds change the outcome this time round?
Greater Kailash, a residential area in South Delhi known for its prominent markets, has voted for AAP 3 consecutive times.
Nestled in South Delhi's CR Park is the famous Kali temple, which has by now established itself as one of the prominent cultural centers of Delhi. During festivals, this is a dream destination for everyone in and around Delhi. Also, this place meticulously holds all possible pujas and festivals showcasing the cultural side of this area.
It is AAP versus BJP versus Congress on this seat. For the upcoming polls, Congress has announced Gurvit Singhvi as the party's candidate. Aam Aadmi Party has fielded Saurabh Bhardwaj, the sitting MLA and a 3-time winner from this seat, while the BJP has named Shikha Rai. Despite its elite status, Greater Kailash is not without its challenges. Traffic congestion, pollution and sanitation issues continue to be major concerns. With over a dozen villages and several unauthorized colonies in the constituency, infrastructure and encroachment problems have plagued the area.
पानी का और रोड साफ सुथरा नहीं होता है, घर के सामने मैल जमा हो जाते हैं, बहुत दिनों से मैल नहीं उठाते हैं, बहुत दिक्कत है।
स्नैचिंग, रेड लाइट खराब हो जाती है तो बारिश होती है तो पानी का लॉगिंग का प्रॉब्लम ऐसे ही है, छोटे छोटे है। तो जो भी आए, जो भी रूलिंग पार्टी आए, वो ठीक ठाक से काम करे, वही चाहती हूँ, बस और कुछ नहीं।
देश के बाकी जगहों पर जहाँ जहाँ भी उनके सरकार है, लग रहा है वहाँ पे कंपैरेटिवली दिल्ली से वो लोग काफ़ी आगे है, बेटर है। थोड़ा सा जैसे लगता है यहाँ से भी बेटर सिस्टम वाइज बेटर है, जो कि यहाँ पे बिल्कुल भी नहीं है, सिस्टम टोटल फ्लॉप है।
Since the creation of this constituency in 2008, Greater Kailash has been a stronghold for the Aam Aadmi Party, with Saurabh Bhardwaj winning 3 consecutive elections. But this time, residents are closely evaluating his tenure, especially on issues like poor roads and mounting traffic congestion.
The BJP has struggled in Greater Kailash, failing to secure a victory since 2008. With a significant voter base in CR Park and large Punjabi populations, the demographics could play a pivotal role in this year's election.
और जो एमसीडी के जो पार्क है इतनी बुरी कंडीशन में है, सबसे पहले वो जगह ठीक होनी चाहिए ताकि सीनियर सिटीजन अपने घर से बाहर निकले, चैन की सांस ले सके। यदि हम घर में भी सफोकेटेड फील करते हैं, पार्क में गंदगी होती है, एकदम ट्रैक टूटी हुई है, तो कहाँ जाएं बताइए। इन्वायरमेंट अच्छा होगा, नहीं तो देखिए आज अमेरिका की जैसे आग लग रही है जंगलों में। इसलिए वी शुड केयर अबाउट द ट्रीज, प्लांट एंड पार्क। दिस इज माई।
With the assembly elections fast approaching, all eyes are going to be on Greater Kailash. Will the Aam Aadmi Party retain its stronghold, or is a new political chapter about to unfold in South Delhi? Only time will tell. With camera person Karan Patra, this is Anushka Garg for NDTV.
Switching tracks, some other stories now. Shootout at India-Bangladesh border as under trial criminal who shot at police constable and escaped attempted to cross Bangladesh. The under trial accused Sajjak Alam, who had fled a day before yesterday after opening fire at 2 police officers in Dinajpur's Goalpukur, was injured in police firing in Vias this morning. Sources said that police had information that he was trying to cross the border and enter Bangladesh last night. A police team surrounded him and he opened indiscriminate fire at them. Police in retaliation opened fire and he has suffered serious injuries. My colleague Saurabh Gupta gets us this report.
The fact is that this criminal who was being escorted by a police team day before yesterday opened fire on policemen and escaped. Then of course the policemen were admitted to hospital. The West Bengal Director General of Police Rajiv Kumar did meet these policemen who were in hospital and then told the media afterwards that, you know, look, if they open fire twice, the police can open fire 4 times. So that was a signal that the police were not, of course, going to take this very lightly. This morning is what we were given to understand, that the police received information that this accused who had escaped from custody would try and cross over into Bangladesh. The police version of events is that he was surrounded. You know, he was asked to, of course, bring himself in, which he refused to. He opened fire and the police opened fire in response, in retaliation. And then, of course, he was rushed to hospital. So this is the police version of events, and this is something that obviously a criminal who's opened fire on the police was trying to cross into Bangladesh. This is in an area near the border and was apprehended at the border, and of course this shootout or this encounter ensued. That's what we know from the police, and of course what we also know is that you know, the DG, the Director General of Police, had sent a very stern message saying that this kind of you know, criminal activity will not be tolerated, and the police won't hesitate to use force if you know, they face this kind of bullets from criminals, antisocial elements.
With that, a wrap on this bulletin. Thanks for watching.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
In a grand ceremony held at the Rashtrapati Bhavan on Friday, President Draupadi Murmu presented the prestigious Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Award to 4 of India's top athletes: double Olympic medalist Manu Bhakar, chess prodigy Gukesh, men's hockey captain Harmanpreet Singh, and Paralympic gold medalist high jumper Praveen Kumar. Along with Khel Ratna recipients, 32 athletes were honored with the Arjuna Award.
are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
Maha, a festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip at the spiritual Sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha 2025.
Kind attention, please. Delhi Election Metro 2025 is arriving on People's Platform. Please mind the gap. BJP or AAP, who will get to the Delhi Secretariat station?
दरवाजे बाईं तरफ खुलेंगे.
Who will Delhi voters open the victory doors for? And who will be shown the door? Can the BJP throw AAP's victory run off track? Or will it be Kejriwal's ticket to win again? Can Congress take the election metro to revival? We will track it all for you. Delhi's decision destination.
Doors will open on the left.
Stay tuned to NDTV for mega metro poll coverage.
Well, I'm in Altadena. This is one of the worst hit areas. When disaster strikes, NDTV World brings you exclusive on-the-ground reports straight from the heart of the action.
A neighborhood in Los Angeles that has been devastated by fire.
I just received an emergency alert extreme, which has come on my phone. Stay tuned for NDTV World's in-depth coverage as we bring you the real stories from Los Angeles. This is the Altadena area, and there are still fires and there's a lot of smoke in the area. These houses completely gutted. This is reporting that matters only on NDTV World.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Maha, a festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip at the spiritual Sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha 2025.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
Hello and welcome to the best of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
For 2 decades, NDTV has been a window to the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, Nobel laureates and stars at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
From Bill Gates to Shakira to Randy Zuckerberg to top ministers to what is often the biggest story, India, a global economic powerhouse. Conversations around our greatest challenges from AI to wars to sustainability. Join us, NDTV's Vishnu Shom and me, Neeraj Shah, as we engage with the world.
Hello and welcome to this very special conversation. Let me share some statistics with you. Over 300 hours of negotiations, 250 bilateral meetings, an hourly update to the Prime Minister, and much, much more went into the New Delhi Declaration, the biggest document that showcased India's success of the G20 presidency. The Sherpa is here and he has shared all those insightful details in his book, How India Scaled G20. Mr. Amitabh Kant, thank you so much for your time here. The inside story of the G20 presidency must be told, and who better to chronicle it than you, sir? And you have spoken about the exchange that you had with the Prime Minister an hour before the G20 began, his urgency, and also why do you think India had to declare that there is a declaration on the day one itself, on the opening day itself?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, we had taken over the presidency under very difficult circumstances. It was a post-COVID era. We had seen vast number of people across the world going below poverty line. A lot of people had lost their jobs. There was a challenge of climate. There was huge challenges on food, fuel, fertilizer. And you had a war going on in Russia and Ukraine. And the challenge was that in multilateral discussions, you need a full consensus. Even if one country opposes it, the agreement falls apart. So consensus and full consensus is literally the key to success. Now, Prime Minister wanted India's G20 presidency to be very ambitious, to be very action-oriented and also very decisive under these very complex and difficult circumstances. Now, we'd run into a very severe problem because the Bali paras had all failed, and throughout the whole year, we could not get an agreement in any of the ministerial. All ministerials had ended up in a deadlock because of the Russia-Ukraine para on which everybody had failed. I mean, it's not just the United Nations, the Security Council, every multilateral forum had failed, and throughout the whole year, we had failed. And the chances of our failure were very high, and it was very important to clinch it. This one particular para, it's not the entire document, one particular para, the Russia-Ukraine crisis, we had to take all the Sherpas out of Delhi, 70 kilometers away from Delhi. And when we started negotiating, we were doing it on a single laptop. We did not allow any mobile to get in because a single photograph of what was being discussed would have wrecked the entire document. And therefore, that one particular para took us 300 hours of negotiation and 250 bilaterals. That particular para failed 16 times. The 17th time it succeeded. And it succeeded because we were very bold, we were very gutsy, we were very courageous, and we told them either you take it or you leave it. If you don't...
You told this to whom? Russians?
To all the Sherpas.
Okay.
And we said, because by that time we knew everybody's red line, and we said you either take it or leave it. And if you don't take it, then India will never be a part of G20. The Prime Minister had said this very clearly to me, that please tell them that if it's also the responsibility of all other countries to arrive at a consensus. And if G20 fails after United Nations has failed, then India will not be a part of G20. India would rather work with BRIC, work with IPSA, rather than working with G20. So I had to tell them that either you take it now, after so many hours of negotiation, after I've taken care of all your concern in the draft. If you don't accept it, then India will not be a part of G20. India would rather work with BRIC and IPSA. And, you know, I said, and I walked out of the meeting, and right after that, in my room right here, the Russian deputy minister and the Sherpa walked in and they wanted a line on sanctions. I said that is not feasible, that's not possible, because G7 will never accept it. They kept threatening, and they said we will not be a part of this. I said in that case, I discussed with the external affairs minister, and I had to tell them that in that case, we will invite Zelensky to be the next speaker after.
Yes, you write about it. Yes.
I write about this.
Yes.
And, you know, 15, 20 minutes later, Russia agreed. So we sealed Russia. In the morning, by 4 o'clock, I had the consent of all the G7 countries except the United States of America. Then in the morning at about 8 a.m., the Prime Minister came to inspect the Bharat Mandapam, and he asked me, what's the status? And I said, sir, not yet. It's not yet clinched. And I started telling him the details. And the Prime Minister said, told me that I'm not interested in procedures and all the details of this, but get me a consensus. He was absolutely clear, get me a consensus. So after he had left, I phoned up the American Sherpa, Mike Pyle, and I asked him that, told him that all other countries have agreed. And he said, I've yet to discuss with President Biden, and I'll get back to you in 15 minutes. He got back to me in 15 minutes, and he said that he's discussed. There are two challenges with the United States. One, he said they want change of one word. So that tells you that every word, every letter matters. Yes. He said, we want a change of one word. And secondly, he's told me that they want Russia and China to agree before United States agree. So I had the agreement of Russia beforehand, the previous night, but I did not have China's agreement. So I called up the Chinese Sherpa after that, and the Chinese Sherpa told me that they want one line to be completely changed, which they had agreed to earlier. So I said, it's not possible. But the Chinese Sherpa said that the Prime Minister says that this line relating to the United States holding the G20 presidency in 2026, China will not accept it. It must be taken out. And if that is not taken out, we will not accept the agreement. Now, they were discussing a bilateral issue. They said that America doesn't issue visas to the Chinese, it does not issue visas to the governor of Hong Kong, etc. And therefore, this must be changed. So the Leaders Summit actually started, the meeting started, and I took the American Sherpa and the Chinese Sherpa to the neighboring room and started discussion from 9:15 till about 12:30. And finally, the Chinese said, we want a written legal guarantee from the United States that they'll issue visa to every single delegate that they recommend. The Americans were not willing to give a legal guarantee, and that discussion went on and on and on. And then finally, I had to tell the Chinese that the word ensure is better than the guarantee, and I'm a native English speaker, and I can tell you, go by the word ensure, go by a written letter, and we'll help you to get this. And finally, that is how we agreed, and the Americans gave a letter saying that we'll ensure that visas are issued, and that was how it was clinched. Now, we went back and told the Prime Minister that we've got the agreement now. The challenge in multilateral forums is, as we've seen in Bali and now we've seen in Brazil, that issues tend to get opened up later. Now that we have stitched it all together, brought G7, all emerging markets, Russia, China, Saudi, Turkey, all together, and got everybody's agreement, we wanted to clinch it at that particular point of time. So this issue was discussed with the Prime Minister, all other leaders, it was discussed informally, and the Prime Minister announced it, and everyone clapped, and it got a massive applause at that particular point of time.
And Mr. Kant, before, many had said, many foreign policy experts were of the opinion that New Delhi Declaration was a distant dream, that it is not a possibility. Why do you think it happened?
when we announced it, there were all these foreign correspondents, all the top foreign correspondents were there, and they had already prepared the story that the New Delhi, leaders summit has failed. Their story was ready till we told, it was announced on the Twitter that this has already been passed, and they couldn't believe it. And when we went in for the press conference, all of them said that it's unbelievable that you've achieved success, because we achieved consensus on 83 paras, 7,000 words. Our outcomes were about 112, whereas in Bali there were just about 48, and the previous summit there were just about 40. So ours was very ambitious, very inclusive, very decisive, very action-oriented, and I think probably the most ambitious G20 ever held in its history.
And how did a career bureaucrat achieve these hard negotiations, which usually diplomats do?
So, well, I had the advantage of having been the CEO of Niti Aayog. So many of these issues which are complex, climate, women-led development, and which is another story of women-led development, and so on, and sustainable development goals and developmental issues, I was quite familiar with. But I must credit my team. I had an excellent team of Abhay Thakur, of Nag Naidu, Ashish, and Inam. All of them were excellent diplomats, and all of them were top class. So I had the support of everyone, and I think it was great teamwork. And more than anything else, it was the stature of the Prime Minister. He delegated us a lot, and because of that, we were very bold, we were gutsy, and actually, if you look at the process of negotiations throughout, we were pleading, we were cajoling, but we were also threatening, we were intimidating, we were being very tough. India's negotiations were pretty ruthless and brutal towards the end. Very, very, if I look back and say we were very, very ruthless in our negotiations, and that's why. And that happened because we had the full backing of our leader. The challenge for a Sherpa is that he has to take his leader on top of the Mount Everest. And, he was the leader, I was only a Sherpa. So if the leader doesn't have broad shoulders, he doesn't have a stature, if he's not strong enough, if he's not bold and gutsy, it's impossible. So I could steer many things because I had the confidence that what I would do, I'll get his full support. And I've been sending him a situation report on a regular basis. Not once was I questioned on anything. So I exercised full freedom, I had all the courage because of my leader.
Mr. Kant, you write that it was not just about hosting a successful summit, but it was about leveraging it as a catalyst for India's own transformation. India had to send this message to the world at a time when the world was divided like never before. The divisions were sharp. You had life conflicts in the backdrop as well. And then you managed a successful G20 summit.
Right in the beginning, when I was asked to become the G20 Sherpa, the Prime Minister told me that you have to do this presidency in a very, very different manner. Because in every country, there are, G20 meetings are held in the capital city.
Yes.
So the Prime Minister said that you have to take it to every state of India, every union territory, and you have to convert this into a people's movement, a Jan Andolan, and involve schools and colleges. So his ambition was very different. And he called a meeting of the chief ministers and the governors, where he made me do a presentation. And it was, just to tell everybody along. And I must say, as a consequence of his leadership, every state, every union territory, it's a great example of cooperative federalism. Everyone participated very vigorously, and it helped us to promote the soft power of India by, promoting the state's brand. So the states were promoting their culture, their art forms, their cuisine, and they were promoting their one district, one product in every meeting. So we could display Rajasthan, Kerala, Andaman, Lakshadweep, Northeast, all of them were displayed. I mean, we really used this opportunity to market India in a very big way. And, so it was very differently done. And he wanted the content to be very ambitious. So that was really the tough job, that in the midst of all these conflicts, and you had other challenges. China saying right from the beginning, we will not accept Vasudev Kutumbakam. We will not accept women-led development. We will not accept, lifestyle for sustainability. So our ability to bring China, our ability to bring Saudi on a range of issues, including women-led development, our ability to bring Turkey, and our ability to bring Russia, all that was largely due to the stature of the Prime Minister.
And Mr. Kant, many say that the success of the democratic exercise which followed in Jammu and Kashmir was that Jammu and Kashmir became part of that integrated showcase during the cultural diversity theme, which was which loomed large during the entire G20 summit. And Srinagar and all those constituencies saw record voter turnout during Lok Sabha polls. Among multiple cities which you have spoken about, which city do you think particularly embraced G20 summits in the way you would have wanted?
Oh, Srinagar was remarkable. I mean, Srinagar was just spectacular. The people came out, every single country came and participated. Imagine every single country participated in that. And the people came out and the delegates walked around Dal Lake. The city had been done up. The cultural show was phenomenal. I think Kashmir was a remarkable success story. So was Andaman. So was Lakshadweep. So was Meghalaya. So was Nagaland. Every single state of India was a remarkable, unique experience. The bigger states, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Kerala. I mean, people loved it everywhere, from the backwaters of Kerala to the forts of Rajasthan, to the islands of India, to Kashmir and Northeast. Everyone embraced it, every school, every college. I mean, we had every single college participating in an essay competition or a debate or a model G20 debate and discussion. It was just phenomenal, the movement.
And this kind of meticulous planning and coordination requires much more, one would say. What went into it? Because when you conceptualize G20 as a Jan Andolan, as Prime Minister would have wanted it, why make it a Jan Andolan? I mean, was it that important moment for India? Almost like in which in diplomatic space it would be defined as India pre-G20 or India post-G20 summit?
See, it's very important from a diplomatic perspective because all these multilateral forums, the pen is always wielded.
Yes.
The draft is always written by the developed world. This was amongst the rare instances where India got the opportunity to draft and speak the language of the global south. And therefore, if you look at the New Delhi leaders' declaration,
Yes.
speaks the language of the global south. India brought in African Union and made it a member of G20 and made it G21. The Prime Minister wrote to all the leaders of the world saying African Union must be made a member because that will make it more inclusive. So India, before India, G20 represented only 70% of the global population. Today, it represents almost 84% of the global population thanks to our ability to bring African Union as a member of G20. So we spoke the language of the global south. The entire technology transformation that has taken place in the world has been because of big tech in the United States, Tencent, Alibaba in China. But during the G20, the definition and the principle of digital public infrastructure as being open source, open API, globally interoperable was accepted by the whole world. And therefore, what you will see in the coming years is this model of development going forward to the global south. It took us 1 year of hard work to make everybody accept it, including United States of America accepted the concept, the principle, the definition of digital public infrastructure. And that, to my mind, or look at women-led development.
Yes.
The United Nations terminology was women empowerment. According to the UN, it will take 132 years to achieve equality with women. None of us have 132 years. And therefore, the whole pitch for women-led development, it took us a lot of huge effort. But eventually, we got all the countries on board on this. And that required a huge amount of work at home, bilaterally, negotiating with countries, taking them on board. All this we managed to do.
India's G20 is also being seen, as you write in the book, that India's approach was very different from the way other countries had approached. What was the need for this?
This was necessary because India wanted to demonstrate that it could be ambitious. It could yet, we are a $4 trillion economy. We are growing at 8%. We are the 5th largest economy in the world. We will be the 3rd largest economy by 27 end, overtaking Germany and Japan. Why should India not be ambitious? Why should India not speak the language of the global south? Why should India not demonstrate to the world its ability to deliver a very different G20? It was necessary for the domestic audience as well, because the domestic audience had seen the Commonwealth Games earlier, and the Commonwealth Games earlier had left a lot to be desired. So we wanted to show that India is capable of delivering a perfectly executed G20 throughout by taking it to all the states of
And
India.
as you say, it was a defining moment in the country's emergence as a global leader, and it marked a significant shift in India's engagement with the world.
Absolutely.
Was that the reason why you could do the kind of engagement that you did?
So the engagement could be done.
The hard bargaining, as you say, a bit of even threats.
I think we could do this because, as I write in the book in another chapter on leadership and action and what I learned from the Prime Minister, I think he had traveled extensively during this period. He went to the ASEAN meeting just before this summit. His personal equation with many of the leaders was very good, excellent. And everybody, if you look back, I think one of the main reasons was that the United States also wanted India to succeed. They negotiated in the national interest, but in the end they said, we want India to succeed. We had challenges with Canada, but they told Canada that India must succeed. Many other issues, even with reference to China, all the emerging markets told China that this is a global South summit, China must fall in line. And therefore, our ability to bring all the global South together, one of the key reasons why we succeeded was because we weren't alone. Brazil, Indonesia, Argentina, Mexico, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, all worked as a team with India. And that, to my mind, is a critical lesson for the future. That whatever we do, the global South must work in partnership, and India must work in partnership with the global South.
Mr. Kant, there is an ongoing debate which is going on in the country right now with regards to work hours.
Yeah.
And it has been started by multiple veterans of titans of business in India. But one comment which was made by the L&T boss with regards to 90 hours work week, and also he should not spend too much time watching or looking at his wife. It has got reactions. What do you think about the work hours, and how many hours do you work yourself?
Well, I slog it out. I believe in slogging it out. I believe in hard work. I truly believe that if India is to become a developed nation by 2047, India, there are very few countries in the world, Japan post-World War II, they were working hard. Korea was working hard when it was growing. China worked hard for 3 decades. If India is to get out of the middle income trap, Indians must work hard, but they also must have a clear outcome. Working hard doesn't mean that you won't have a work-life balance. All Indians must be very clear that very few countries have been able to grow at 9 to 10% per annum year after year without working hard. So I know Mr. Subramaniam very well. He's a top-class CEO. He's someone who's got a stellar record. He's delivered as the CEO of L&T. And he was just trying to inspire and motivate his team. He was telling them that please work hard so that we can deliver our projects before time. Now that's been twisted out of context to my mind, and I am a strong believer that India needs to work hard, India needs to have clear outcomes. India also needs to maintain a work-life balance, and that work-life balance will actually come from working hard.
But working hard doesn't mean working extra hours.
No, you have to have outcomes. So all that he's telling his team is that we have these projects to deliver. These are all hardcore infrastructure projects
to be delivered. 90 hours
you work and deliver them before time, much before time, that's it. But to my mind, many of these issues are raised by people who do not realize the significance and importance of what India needs to do to become a developed nation by 2047. It's a tough job. It's not easy. You have to improve your infrastructure. You have to improve your learning outcome. You have to improve your health outcomes. You need to push on your exports. These are all very challenging things. It's not an easy task. And therefore, the country must rally around to not merely working hard, but define its clear outcomes that we want. PM has set an outcome, and that outcome is that we must become a developed nation by 2047. What does it mean? Your GDP must grow 9 times. Your per capita income must grow 8 times. Your manufacturing has to grow 16 times in this period. That can't be done without very, very hard work with defined outcomes.
Okay. My last question to you. What was one moment during your G20 Sherpa tenure that you felt overwhelmed?
When everything had failed, we really felt that it'll be impossible. It was about 12:30 in the night. The leaders had already come in, and when we called the Sherpas for the final round, and we said that this is the final draft, take it or leave it. And my Prime Minister has seen the document and he says it's perfectly fine. And we said that if you don't take it, we will walk out of G20. That was the toughest moment. That was a make or break moment. And it was really tough. It was ruthless. I said this and I walked out of the room. And I didn't want to get into a detailed discussion, which we had done already for many, many hours. I came out. And to my mind, that sent shock waves to the other Sherpa, and they realized that we were being very, very serious about it. And that's why many of them fell in line.
So you mean business?
We mean business.
Yes.
India means business. The Prime Minister means business.
All right, Mr. Kant, thank you so much. And to the viewers, this is the book where Amitabh Kant brings out very, very fascinating details of what were the talks, the negotiations, and also some hard bargaining that India did to ensure that the New Delhi Declaration in September last year actually sees the light of the day. Thanks so much for watching.
All set for Trump 2.0. Countdown to January 20th. Terror shadow, visa wars. All the twists and turns. Tracking Trump takeover. Every day at 10:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
Maha Kumbh, the festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip and the spiritual Sangam. A sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha Kumbh 2025.
Kind attention, please. Delhi Election Metro 2025 is arriving on People's Platform.
Please mind the gap.
BJP or AAP, who will get to the Delhi Secretariat station?
दरवाजे बाईं तरफ खुलेंगे.
Who will Delhi voters open the victory doors for? And who will be shown the door? Can the BJP throw AAP's victory run off track? Or will it be Kejriwal's ticket to win again? Can Congress take the election metro to revival?
Three days on, Saif Ali Khan's attacker is still on the run. 30 teams have been formed by the police. Kareena has given the statement to Kumbh, says she saw the attacker attacking Saif Ali Khan repeatedly. Sessions Court in Kolkata will deliver the verdict in the R.G. Khar case today. Remember, the CBI charged the accused Sanjay Roy in the rape case. Prime Minister Modi launches Swamitva scheme, distributes over 65 lakh property cards, and the scheme will benefit over 50,000 villages. India will announce its Champions Trophy squad shortly. Bumrah likely to be among 15. Rohit Sharma retains white ball captaincy to address the press today with Chief Selector Ajit Agarkar. A day to go for Donald Trump's swearing in. Trump's inauguration has been moved indoors due to cold. Hi there, very good afternoon. You're watching NDTV 24/7. My name is Kitty Bahel. In the latest update in the Saif Ali Khan stabbing case, more than 60 hours have passed now since Bollywood actor Saif Ali Khan was attacked, but the accused remains at large. Now, more than 15 individuals have been questioned overnight. That also includes statements that have been taken from the staff in the house, auto rickshaw driver also who drove Saif Ali Khan to the hospital, and also Kareena Kapoor has recorded her statement. In her statement, Kareena Kapoor has said that the attacker was very aggressive and attacked Saif Ali Khan repeatedly. However, he did not take any valuables with him. Now, the Mumbai police and the crime branch have formed nearly 30 teams that are actively searching for the accused. He remains at large. In the CCTV footage, remember, the attacker was seen climbing down the stairs in Saif Ali Khan's house. Fresh visuals of the actor's suspected attacker also came in which he was seen wearing a blue shirt. The intruder was earlier seen wearing a black t-shirt. That was the first CCTV that appeared. Later on, this is the second visual that came in which he was seen wearing a blue shirt. That means he changed his clothes after the attack on Saif Ali Khan and managed to escape. Meanwhile, doctors have said that Saif Ali Khan is recovering well. He's still in the hospital, remember. And at the moment we are learning, the crime branch cops are at Saif Ali Khan's house. All right, we also have Radhika joining us on the broadcast. We have Abira, my colleague from the Leelavati Hospital at the moment. Radhika, if I could come to you first, any information that the police has been able to get about the suspect? We've seen these two CCTV visuals that came in earlier, but any more information about the attacker?
That's right, a lot of evidence being gathered. We're seeing a lot of CCTV footage, visuals being released by the police as far as the accused is concerned. The fact that he was, loitering around in Bandra a few hours after the incident. Then he went to a shop, got a couple of things. He changed clothing. All that is something that's very clear from the CCTV footage that's being gathered, not just from the building, but from other parts of Mumbai as well. But absolutely no breakthrough in terms of arrest. We know that multiple people were being questioned. Yesterday, a suspect was questioned twice, one in the morning and later in the evening as well. We were made to believe that he could be the one because, he had striking similarities with the person who we saw in the CCTV footage. However, the police later confirmed to us that he had no connection with the case. A carpenter who worked in Saif Ali Khan's building was also questioned, but he was also given a clean sheet by the Mumbai police. Apart from that, recording of statements of all those who were present at the time have also been recorded, of all the nannies, house help, and very importantly of Kareena Kapoor, who spoke about how the attacker was aggressive. He did not steal any valuables and he saw him repeatedly attacking Saif Ali Khan. Besides that, the rickshaw driver who took Saif Ali Khan to the hospital, his statement being recorded as well. So yes, statement recording happening of multiple people, several people being questioned. However, the fact remains that there is no breakthrough in terms of an arrest. So it is quite embarrassing at this point for the Mumbai police. The fact that it's been more than 48 hours.
We do believe they have
robbery
been
taking place in a high-profile celebrity's
earlier
home.
In the morning, is the team still present there? What is happening there at the moment? The security, of course, has been heightened outside the house.
That's right. Security has been heightened outside Saif Ali Khan's residence. We've been seeing cops in and out of his house over the last 2 days. Of course, there was more activity on day one when, multiple departmental corps were there, including crime branch as well as Bandra police. There were forensic teams and also dog squad who were at the spot. Fingerprints were being collected, CCTV evidence was being collected, and all the people there were questioned on day one. Day two, we did see more people. Today also, there were a few crime branch officials inside, Saif Ali Khan's residence to once again scan the crime spot and also to question people who live in the premises. So that's what is happening as far as investigations are concerned. Yes, crime branch officials at his residence, as they were over the last 2 days. 30 teams sent to different parts of Mumbai and outside of Mumbai, many in Bandra, Dadar, Nala Supara, Vasai. So, scanning of many areas happening as we speak.
All right, Saif Ali Khan is still in the hospital. His condition is said to be better. Let me take an update on that from Abira also. All right, Radhika. All right. Let me take an update from Abira also. Abira, what are the doctors saying? When is Saif Ali Khan expected to be released from the hospital? Who all are there with him in the hospital? Where is Kareena Kapoor Khan? Have other celebs been also coming to meet him?
While we were just talking, Sara Ali Khan entered the hospital. Kareena is already inside the hospital. So is his sister Soha with her husband Kunal Khemu and their daughter Inaya. They are all inside right now. The doctors had made sure that only and only family come inside to visit him. Visitors have been restricted because the doctor said there's a chance of infection because he has gone through a major surgery. He had a surgery, neurosurgery near his spine where the 2.5-inch knife blade was taken out from. The doctor said it was a it could have been very dangerous if it would have touched his spine, but by 2-millimeter distance it didn't touch his spine, and that's why his life was saved. But there was a spinal fluid that leaked out, but the surgery was done and it was repaired. Even the wound that he had on his hand and neck was taken care of by the plastic surgeons. The operation went on for 5 hours, but after that he was shifted to an ICU and he's doing fine. Yesterday the doctors met us and they said that he is recovering very well. He has been shifted out of the ICU to the special room and he's been given a normal diet. They even made him walk and also said there's no risk of paralysis. We have checked everything and he's doing great right now. And about being discharged, they clearly mentioned that it only depends upon how well he's recovering. So it will take us time to see how the recovery goes, but he has been instructed strict bed rest for 1 week.
Okay, so Saif Ali Khan might have to spend some more time in the hospital. That is what is being believed at the moment. We'll keep waiting for the updates there. Abira, thank you so much for getting us all those details. Radhika, thanks to you as well. Please keep an eye on the developments there. We'll come back to you later for more on that. Let's also now listen into this exclusive conversation we've had with the auto driver who drove Saif Ali Khan to the hospital in the wee hours of January 16 when he was attacked.
सर, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। उस दिन क्या हुआ था, कितने बजे आपको किसने रोका और आप पूरा मामला क्या हुआ था वो बताएं।
जी सर, मैं अपना जैसे बार्डरफील्ड रोड लिंकिंग रोड से होते हुए गलियों में जा रहा था, ठीक है, जहाँ इनका रूम है, सतगुरु करके निवास इनका है, बिल्डिंग है, इनका नाम है। मैं इधर से निकल रहा हूँ तो उसके बाद में एक लेडीज़ आगे से आती है, बोले रिक्शा रिक्शा रिक्शा, बाकी गेट से आवाज़ आ रहा है रिक्शा रिक्शा, रुको रुको रुको, ठीक है। अब वो थोड़ा मैं गेट से आगे ही बढ़ जाता हूँ, बट फिर मैं बोले रिक्शा लगाओ लगाओ, गेट पे लगाओ लगाओ, फिर मैं यूटर्न मार के गेट पे लगाता हूँ तो उसमें 2-4 खड़े यानी लोग निकलते हैं, तो उसमें एक यानी कि वाइट कमीज सलवार पहन के पूरा एकदम बिल्कुल खून से लदा हुआ है, बिल्कुल रेड कलर का पूरा दिख रहा है वाइट। तो देख के उसके बाद जैसे घाव लगा है कि बोलो चलो ठीक है बैठो बैठो बैठो, तो बैठाया गया। उनके बाद एक बच्चा बैठा उनके साथ में, एक यंग आदमी जो थे उनमें साथ में बैठे गए, तो बोले चलो हॉस्पिटल लेके चलो। हॉस्पिटल का डिस्टेंस नहीं हुआ था। उसके बाद में फिर जब गार्डन पार करने के बाद बोले कि अपना होली फैमिली चला जाए कि अपना लीलावती, तो साहब बोले कि लीलावती लेके चलो, तो फिर वहाँ से फिर मैं उनको सीधा लीलावती लेके गया।
और नीचे कौन आया था जब ये पूरा मामला हुआ? उस समय नीचे कौन आया था? किस व्यक्ति ने जो है आपकी रिक्शा में सैफ अली खान को बिठाया और आपको कैसे पता चला कि सैफ अली खान है?
नहीं, सैफ अली खान उधर हमको नहीं पता चला, क्योंकि वो तो ऐसा था, गड़बड़ मेरे को भी हुई, जैसे कोई मार लगा हो, कोई इमरजेंसी जो हो जाता है, मारामारी होता है तो आदमी घबराहट होती है कि कैसा क्या पैसेंजर बैठा दिया मैंने, ऐसा कोई मारामारी हो कहीं हमको तो दिक्कत नहीं होगी कोई, तो हमको भी घबराहट हुई। तो उसके बाद में देखा गया, तो जब वो वहाँ पहुँच गया, मैंने फटाफट पहुँचाया जाए इनको, जो ठीक ठाक इनको जैसा ट्रीटमेंट टाइम से मिल रहा है। उसके बाद मैं देख रहा हूँ तो उतरने के बाद तो गार्ड खड़ा था, गार्ड को बुलाया गया, बोले इधर आओ, और आया। उसके बाद बोला कि फटाक से स्टाफ लोगों को बुलाया जा, मैं सैफ अली खान हूँ। तब मुझे पता चला कि ये सैफ अली खान है। हाँ जी सर।
We'll keep an eye on the developments here and bring you more updates in just a bit. Meanwhile, shifting our focus now to some more news that we're tracking. This is from Kolkata. Sessions Court in Kolkata will announce its verdict in the brutal RG Kaur rape and murder case where a second-year postgraduate trainee doctor was raped and killed. Well, the horrific crime had led to nationwide outrage and protest. The trial has been completed and the court will announce the verdict shortly. While many had alleged that there was an involvement of others as well, so far no evidence of that emerged, and the CBI that has been investigating the case had filed a charge sheet only against Sanjay Roy, who was arrested by the Kolkata police a day after the horrific crime. As per latest updates coming in, we are learning that the accused Sanjay Roy has been brought to the Selda court, and the judgment in the RG Kaur rape and murder case is expected to be out shortly.
हम लोग हाई कोर्ट के सामने 54 क्वेश्चन रखा है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट में 39 क्वेश्चन रखा है, लोअर कोर्ट में भी 35 क्वेश्चन रखा है। ये सब क्वेश्चन का आंसर हम कोर्ट का पास से मांगा है, हम सीबीआई से नहीं मांगा है। हम पहले सीबीआई नहीं मांगा था, लेकिन कोर्ट ने सीबीआई को अच्छा समझे और सीबीआई को दे दिया। लेकिन सीबीआई क्या कर रहा है हमको उसका कोई लेना देना नहीं है, हमको कोर्ट के पास से इसको जवाब चाहिए।
समाज को बहुत ज़बरदस्त संदेश देना चाहिए, ये हम लोग का उम्मीद है। और ये एक आदमी का काम नहीं है, मल्टीपल नंबर ऑफ गुण आर इन्वॉल्व। सीबीआई शुड लुक इनटू द मैटर केयरफुली और वी आर वेरी होपफुल दैट हायर जुडिशरी सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज लुकिंग द मैटर केयरफुली। सुप्रीम कोर्ट विल फाइनली टेक प्रॉपर एक्शन, इट्स माई assumption and we are too much hopeful.
ऐसे कलकत्ता पुलिस के अंदर जब तक ये केस था उस समय 5 दिन तक कलकत्ता पुलिस ने इतने सारे वहाँ पे मिसमैनेजमेंट किया है, वो डेलिबरेट मिसमैनेजमेंट था हमें लगता है, किसी के ऑर्डर के द्वारा कारण किया गया है। और इस मिसमैनेजमेंट के कारण वहाँ पे कोई सबूत रहा ही नहीं जितना मुझे पता है। वो बंदा क्यों बोल रहा है कि उससे सरकार ने बोला है कि ख़त्म कर देंगे नहीं तो पश्चिम बंगाल सरकार की तरफ से, पुलिस की तरफ से बोला गया कि मुंह बंद रखो, ऐसी जो क्लेम वो कर रहे थे जब वो कोर्ट में पेशी हो रही थी और मीडिया के सामने वो बंदा आ रहा था संजय, तो मुझे लगता है कि इनके ऊपर भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन अलग से होनी चाहिए कोर्ट के आदेश के द्वारा.
There were other gang rape and murder of minors that were committed in Bengal, and all the, like, let me give you an example. Like yesterday, there was a case in Hooghly, Gujarat, where there was no CBI. Calcutta West Bengal police investigated, and within 54 days, capital punishment was pronounced for the accused. Today, after the verdict is delivered, Abhaya, that we call her, Abhaya will finally get justice. Calcutta police will stand vindicated. Mamata Banerjee's government will stand vindicated. And people who come to your channel, and I was hearing them, who are raising questions on the CBI, who are raising questions on the investigation. It's very funny to see that BJP is raising questions on CBI.
All right, shifting our focus now to the national capital, where the Aam Aadmi Party today accused the Delhi police of preventing the screening of a documentary made on the party at an event in the national capital. The Delhi police, however, rejected the charge, saying that it was a standard process during elections, as the said event had no permission from the District Election Officer's office. Well, the screening of the documentary that was titled Unbreakable was cancelled at the last moment today, with the Aam Aadmi Party alleging that the Delhi police cancelled the event on the direction of the BJP. Well, Arvind Kejriwal has said that the film was made on the Aam Aadmi Party. This film was to be shown to journalists, and the BJP prevented the screening of the film by deploying a huge police force, and the BJP is scared of this film. All right, well, that's the latest coming in. The Aam Aadmi Party leader also said that the film exposes the illegal and unconstitutional actions of the BJP. Well, the Delhi police, however, in its statement has said that as elections have been declared, the political parties have to apply for permission through single window system at DE office, that is the DM office. It's a standard process during elections. For the said event, there was no permission that was taken, and hence it would have been a violation of guidelines. The police has said that it urges all parties to follow election rules and regulations at this time.
आम आदमी पार्टी पर एक फिल्म बनी है. आज सुबह ही पुलिस ने वहां पहुंच के उसकी स्क्रीनिंग रुकवा दी. किसी पार्टी के लिए वोट नहीं मांगा जा रहा था, किसी पार्टी के खिलाफ नहीं बोला जा रहा था. और ये बीजेपी के गैर कानूनी और गैर संवैधानिक तरीके से जिस तरह से बीजेपी ने आम आदमी पार्टी के नेताओं को जेल भेजा था, उस पर से वो पर्दा उठाती है, और इसीलिए बीजेपी इतनी ज्यादा डरी हुई है.
Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal was questioned during a press conference regarding a movie screening which is named Unbreakable, a documentary based on the alleged wrongful arrest of the Aam Aadmi Party leaders and the kind of struggles they went through and the resilience of the leaders. The party wanted to show this documentary to the journalists, but this morning the BJP allegedly deployed a large number of police forces and ensured that the movie screening does not take place. Mr. Kejriwal criticized the BJP for not allowing the screening of the movie, for deliberately stopping the screening, and he also questioned that if Mr. Narendra Modi can screen his film, if that can be allowed by the EC, then why cannot this documentary be portrayed, be showcased to the journalists, to the media, stating that this is not part of an election campaign. Apart from this, Mr. Kejriwal has also announced a significant promise to all the tenants living in the national capital that they will now be getting free supply of electricity and water if the party gets re-elected in the upcoming Delhi Assembly elections. With camera person Sanjay Kaushik, this is Shreya for NDTV.
All right, so a lot of action is expected ahead with Delhi polls, with the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP engaging in a face-off over a host of issues. Meanwhile, we have more news that we are tracking now. Prime Minister Modi today virtually inaugurated the distribution of property cards and certificates under the central government's Swamitva. That's the ownership scheme today. Well, this scheme was launched by the Prime Minister, and over 65 lakh cards have been distributed. benefiting about 50,000 villages. This has been launched against, across 230 districts in India.
और यह देखकर बहुत अच्छा लगा कि स्वामित्व योजना के माध्यम से आप जैसे लाखों परिवारों की आमदनी भी बढ़ रही है।
जी सर।
हमारी सरकार की प्राथमिकता है कि देश के हर नागरिक का सिर गर्व से ऊंचा रहे, उसके जीवन में सुगमता आए। स्वामित्व योजना इसी सोच का विस्तार है।
And in some more news now, the External Affairs Minister S. Shankar today slammed Pakistan taking a jibe at Pak. EAM said that Pakistan is the cancer of terror consuming. Pakistan supports cross-border terror. This is the statement coming in from the External Affairs Minister. Listen in.
Pakistan remains the exception in our neighborhood in view of its support for cross-border terrorism. And that cancer is now consuming its own body politic. Obviously, the entire subcontinent has a shared interest in Pakistan abjuring that approach.
Another important and big statement coming in from the External Affairs Minister on the activities taking place in the neighboring country. Meanwhile, there was a shootout at India-Bangladesh border as an under-trial criminal who shot at the police and escaped attempts to cross into Bangladesh. The under-trial accused Sajjak Alam had fled day before yesterday after opening fire at the two police officials in Dinajpur's Golpokor. What we're learning as per sources is that the police had information that he was trying to cross the border and enter into Bangladesh. The police team surrounding him opened indiscriminate firing at them. That is what we are learning. The police in retaliation opened fire and he suffered serious injuries. And some more news now. President-elect Donald Trump has said that his inauguration would be moved inside the Capitol because of a frigid weather forecast. The first time in 40 years that a presidential swearing-in will be held indoors. The change from Monday's inauguration means that far fewer people will be able to watch in person as Donald Trump officially becomes the 47th president. It also avoids the potential for smaller crowds because of the weather. Well, all eyes will be on the mega event on Monday. Donald Trump is set to be sworn in, and this is going to be Donald Trump's second run as a US president. He is all set to take office, and what we're learning is that as per the statement by Donald Trump, his inauguration now has been moved indoors.
What can we expect from the next Trump term?
Well, in terms of foreign policy, I think we can expect a much more assertive, pro-American, MAGA kind of foreign policy, especially with respect to Israel and Palestine. I think we're going to see a much more assertive, very pro-American perspective. If I were to broaden out the vista a little bit and thinking about how this administration is going to tackle the big picture of American foreign policy, again, I think it's going to be much more assertive. It's going to be much more challenging for China, for example. I would imagine that there's going to be a serious doubling down on the relationship with India, for example. I think that this incoming administration is going to really put the hammers to the Europeans to get them to take up their responsibilities with respect to Russia and just European security. And then we're going to see the pivot, to use a term of art from a few years back. We're going to see a pivot in America's interest to the Indo-Pacific. And that's where I see American foreign policy moving under this new administration. Making the Europeans do their own security and then pivoting in terms of America's relationships with countries like India, perhaps Pakistan, certainly the ASEAN countries. That's where I see things going.
All right, with that, it's time for a quick break here. More news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
Well, I'm in Altadena. This is one of the worst hit areas. When disaster strikes, NDTV World brings you exclusive on-the-ground reports straight from the heart of the action.
A neighborhood in Los Angeles that has been devastated by fire.
I just received an emergency alert extreme, which has come on my phone. Stay tuned for NDTV World's in-depth coverage as we bring you the real stories from Los Angeles. This is the Altadena area, and there are still fires and there's a lot of smoke in the area. These houses completely gutted. This is reporting that matters only on NDTV World.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Maha Kumbh, the festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip and the spiritual sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha Kumbh 2025.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
Hello and welcome to the best of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
For 2 decades, NDTV has been a window to the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, Nobel laureates and stars at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
From Bill Gates to Shakira to Randy Zuckerberg to top ministers to what is often the biggest story, India, a global economic powerhouse. Conversations around our greatest challenges, from AI to wars to sustainability. Join us, NDTV's Vishnu Shom and me, Neeraj Shah, as we engage with the world's finest. NDTV at Davos from January 20th to January 25th.
All set for Trump 2.0. Countdown to January 20th. Terror shadow, visa wars. All the twists and turns
tracking Trump takeover. Every day at 10:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
Maha Kumbh, the festival of faith.
Hello and good evening to India Sense. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. Let's start the show with headlines coming in this Friday evening. First up, incoming and incumbent US presidents fight it out for credit. But the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas paves the way for return of hostages. The question we ask, is this a temporary truce or will this finally bring permanent peace in the region? Amidst Imran Khan's rising popularity, Khan gets yet another conviction in yet another case. Will this mean the end of the phenomena called Imran Khan or will this hit the Sharif juggernaut? We decode. India continues to be the fastest growing economy in the world. World Bank projects 6.4% growth rate for this year and 6.5% next year for the Indian economy. President-elect Donald Trump is set to be sworn in on the 20th of January. From global tech CEOs to big leaders, it will be a star-studded affair. His welcome ball has raised record donations. While Xi Jinping has been invited, Putin has not. The world waits as the Trump era is set to begin in 48 hours. Bangladesh's descent continues. The country's Reform Commission recommends removal of the word secularism from constitution, even as Pakistani army is all set to visit Bangladesh for joint military activity. Should India be worried? And the world's largest religious gathering begins in Kumbh. Over 400 million people, or the size of the entire Europe, is set to visit Prayagraj over the next 45 days in search for moksha or salvation at the holy place of Triveni Sangam. All right, our big story this evening. As Israel and Hamas seal the deal in Doha, the world is now holding its breath. A three-phase hostage release and ceasefire agreement was finalized early Friday, marking a turning point in the 15-month-long bloody war. Yet we ask, will this be the foundation for a lasting resolution, or is this, well, wishful thinking? Hostage releases are the first step in what is going to be a very broad arrangement. Israel hopes that this will be a broader regional shift. After all, previous deals in the region have been marked by promises that have been broken before the ink even dried. But this agreement goes beyond just Israel and Hamas, because this war has been more than just about Israel and Hamas. It reshaped the entire West Asia. Lebanon is now looking at the promise of a political framework without Hezbollah calling the shots. Syria under Assad was once a key part of Iran's proxy network. But this war consumed Assad's regime, and with it, the present political order, which had an Assad in it for half a century. Well, Iran is at its weakest position it has been since the Islamic Revolution in 1979. And as for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, there is too much on the line to not say yes to this deal. The deal offers an opportunity to cement its broader interests in the region. A weakened Iran may be more open to nuclear talks with the US. And with Netanyahu being in Trump's good books, Israel sees a huge opportunity to engage in negotiations that would be more favorable for it on a long-term basis. And post the ceasefire, the Trump administration may accelerate normalization of ties between Israel and Saudi Arabia, which could be another win for Netanyahu. Israel may also hope this deal will cement ties with the Gulf and the entire region and ensure the Jewish settlements that are there in West Bank are given their due political place. But for all the political calculus, lingering worries persist. What happens on the 43rd day when the phase 1 of this deal finishes? Previous ceasefires have collapsed at the first hint of violation. And there's no shortage of skeptics. Israel has been clear that not a dime will flow into Gaza reconstruction until Hamas is disarmed and sitting at the negotiating table. Well, this could mean too much, and it could actually mean a long-term stagnation for Gaza and the people of Gaza. Well, as for Palestinians, the only thing I can say is that the possibility of a Palestinian state is more tangible now than it has ever been, maybe in the last 20 years. But with so many moving parts, so many players pulling in different directions, will these hopes ever take root, or will they be buried under layers of diplomacy and distrust? This agreement represents a high-stakes gamble, but it also raises hard questions. Can any peace hold in a region that is defined by fractured trust and shifting allegiances? Well, viewers, the next few days, especially as the deal progresses through its phases, will be a test of both Trump's threats as well as his political capital. All right, turning our attention to the other very important story on India's sense. After years of icy relations, a Bangladeshi general has crossed the line into Pakistan, signaling a thaw in ties. But as the two nations warm up, India is watching closely, wary of a possible storm that may brew in its backyard. Could this new alliance reignite old tensions and tip the region towards conflict? Our next report unpacks the growing concerns along India's border due to growing proximity between Bangladesh and Pakistan's military. Take a look.
A top Bangladeshi military official, Lieutenant General S.M. Kamarul Hassan, has visited Pakistan. A first for the two countries with a bitter past. The visit to Pakistan's general headquarters in Rawalpindi signals a warming relationship with discussions surrounding military cooperation and regional security. But beneath the surface of these renewed ties, an unsettling narrative is emerging, one that India is closely monitoring. Since Sheikh Hasina's ousting in Bangladesh last year, the military ties between Pakistan and Bangladesh have suddenly thawed. High-level meetings, including one with Pakistan's army chief, have underscored a stronger defense relationship, something that was never to happen given the wounds of rape, torture and brutality that Bangladeshis nurtured for decades. Could this new alliance signal the rise of anti-India rhetoric on India's eastern and western borders? For years, the Bangladesh army, shaped by decades of Pakistani influence post-1971, distanced itself from Islamabad's reach. But with this shift, India faces the possibility of a strategic recalibration in its backyard, as the potential military training agreement between Pakistan and Bangladesh takes shape. The first Pakistani-led training module for Bangladesh Army officers is set to begin in February 2025 at Main Singh Cantonment. This could reignite concerns of Bangladesh being drawn back into Pakistan's fold, as extreme elements are being mainstreamed just like Islamabad has always done so. In the northeast, India is already on high alert. Explosives from Pakistan have reportedly found their way into Bangladesh, heightening security concerns. As Bangladesh warms up to Pakistan, its border tensions with India are becoming routine. As both sides clash over border infrastructure, India is adamant about securing its land and preventing cross-border crimes. With 81% of the 4,156-kilometer border now fenced, India is determined to keep its defences strong. But the implications of these border disputes could turn the region into a powder keg, ready to ignite at the slightest spark. As tensions simmer, India's military readiness along the Bangladesh border remains unwavering. The question remains, will this thaw in Bangladesh-Pakistan relations pull the region back into a dangerous spiral of conflict? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear. India will not lower its guard.
All right, shifting gears to the other big story that we are tracking on the show today. The H-1B visa program is set for a major change and it kicks in today. Streamlining the approval process, enhancing flexibility and strengthening the program integrity are the clear reasons why it's being done. But let's tell our viewers what's really changing. First up, the definition of a specialty occupation is getting a facelift. The new rule clarifies the criteria for what qualifies as a specialty job, especially for non-profit and government research organization places that won't be affected by the annual visa cap. This means greater opportunities for both employers and skilled foreign workers in sectors that are crucial for innovation. For students on F1 visas, there's a silver lining too. The new regulations offer automatic gap extensions, which means lower and fewer disruptions when it comes to work authorizations as they transition to H-1B status. Essentially, it means a smoother path from student status to skilled worker status. But it's not just about easing transitions. The revamped system will allow faster processing for applicants already holding H-1B visas, cut down the waiting times. Plus, for certain beneficiaries with stakes in their own companies, the rules now make it possible for them to qualify for H-1B status under reasonable conditions. To avoid abuse, the rule sharpens the focus on enforcement, empowering authorities to carry out inspections and impose penalties as far as non-compliance is concerned. Employers will have to show they have a legit need for skilled workers. The clock is ticking as the new regulations assume full force. A revised form, which is Site 129, which petitions for non-immigrant workers will be mandatory, leaving no room for old paperwork. Expect a preview of the new form on the USCIS website soon. In short, this update is a game changer for US employers and foreign talent alike, streamlining processes and boosting efficiency. Now, in India, whether you're a student looking to transition or whether you are running a company on the hunt for the next big innovation, these changes could actually very well rewrite the rules of the game. All right, on that note, we slip into a very short break. We come back on the other side to talk about how India has outwit Pakistan in Afghanistan. Stay with us.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera. Kind attention, please. Delhi Election Metro 2025 is arriving on People's Platform.
Please mind the gap.
BJP or AAP, who will get to the Delhi Secretariat station?
दरवाजे बाईं तरफ खुलेंगे.
Who will Delhi voters open the victory doors for? And who will be shown the door? Can the BJP throw AAP's victory run off track? Or will it be Kejriwal's ticket to win again? Can Congress take the election metro to revival? We will track it all for you. Delhi's decision destination.
Doors will open on the left.
Stay tuned to NDTV for mega metro poll coverage.
Well, I'm in Altadena. This is one of the worst hit areas.
When disaster strikes, NDTV World brings you exclusive on-the-ground reports straight from the heart of the action.
A neighborhood in Los Angeles that has been devastated by fire.
I just received an emergency alert extreme, which has come on my phone. Stay tuned for NDTV World's in-depth coverage as we bring you the real stories from Los Angeles.
This is the Altadena area, and there are still fires, and there's a lot of smoke in the area. These houses completely gutted.
This is reporting that matters only on NDTV World.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Maha, the festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip at the spiritual Sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage.
Welcome back to Watching India Ascends. We now turn our attention to the other key story we are tracking. As the saying goes, you reap what you sow. And in Pakistan's case, its long-standing support for the Taliban has come back to haunt it in the worst possible way. Once a pawn in Islamabad's geopolitical game, Taliban has turned the tables, launching attacks of its own and testing Pakistan's borders. And if that wasn't enough, Islamabad now finds itself in the ironic position of watching India, its bitter rival, cozy up to Taliban. It seems the strategic depth Pakistan once sought has now turned into an unbearable quagmire of miscalculations. This report tells you the story in detail. Pakistan's long-standing partnership with the Taliban have always been framed as a strategic pursuit of depth in Afghanistan, one designed to keep its arch-rival India at arm's length. The idea was simple: support the Taliban and you gain a powerful proxy on your western border. But as the world knows only too well, geopolitical strategies often play out like a bad comedy, and Pakistan is now the punchline of its own creation. For decades, Islamabad fed the Taliban, training, arming and fostering their cause. It was supposed to pay off, and Afghanistan under Taliban rule, serving as a strategic buffer against India. But today, Pakistan's strategic depth has turned into an unbearable depth of confusion. Instead of influencing Kabul, Pakistan now finds itself the target of Taliban attacks and cross-border strikes. The same group it nurtured has become an unwelcome neighbor, launching retaliatory assaults and challenging Pakistan's territorial claims along the Durand Line. In fact, the country witnessed a 40% increase in militant attacks in 2024. More than 900 Pakistani civilians and security forces killed in just 1 year. Most of these attacks were mounted by the TTP. It's as if Pakistan is now being punished by karma itself. In late December, Pakistani airstrikes on Taliban-held Afghan territory killed TTP members.
only for Kabul to retaliate, claiming the lives of 46 civilians. And in the aftermath, Islamabad remained silent, pretending the counter-strikes never happened. But then something unexpected occurred. India stepped in. In a move that stunned Pakistan's strategists, New Delhi condemned Pakistan's actions, aligning itself with the Taliban's narrative. But that was just the beginning. Just days later, India's Foreign Secretary met with Taliban's Foreign Minister in Dubai, marking the highest level engagement between India and the Taliban since Kabul fell in 2021. Suddenly, Pakistan is watching helpless as India grows closer to the very regime it once considered a foe. New Delhi is offering aid, facilitating trade through Iran's Chabahar port, and even assisting with Afghanistan's refugee crisis. The bottom line is simple. Pakistan's decades of duplicity have backfired. As the old adage goes, the Taliban bites the hand that once fed it. And in the theatre of geopolitics, this absurd drama has only just begun.
On Inside Story, we talk more about Pakistan. Well, it has an Imran Khan problem. Whether it's the army, its deep state, its government led by Shahbaz Sharif, all have been trying to find a solution to their Imran Khan problem. And they have only one solution: keeping him in jail on yet another case. So there's another case of misuse of power in which Imran Khan has been convicted yet again. His legal troubles have been compounding ever since he left office as Prime Minister. He now faces over 150 cases, is already serving 3 jail terms which are running concurrently. But this strategy will not solve Sharif or the army chief's problem. Imran Khan is popular. His popularity is unfazed by his long jail terms. His clarion calls are being answered by his supporters, and he has remained undeterred in his demands regarding an election audit and rollback of the law that made the Supreme Court of Pakistan a puppet of the army. But this new conviction will make matters worse for Shahbaz Sharif. Trump 2.0 begins in less than 3 days. And as of now, the Sharif government has no lines of communication with Team Trump. In fact, there's not even been a phone call. On the contrary, Imran Khan and Donald Trump have some rapport. It's unclear if Trump will wade into Imran Khan's messy incarceration, but what's clear is that the fresh conviction is unlikely to help Shahbaz Sharif break ice with Donald Trump anytime soon. All right, the wide-angle story on the show. Maha Kumbh is a confluence of spirituality, ancient Hindu traditions and wisdom. And it is not just Indians that are flocking to the center of Hindu beliefs, but those from far-flung countries like Fiji and Guyana. In fact, visitors from over 70 countries are here to experience the Shahi Snan. And with the next 45 days set to witness the largest congregation of humanity in Prayagraj, the Uttar Pradesh government is doing everything it can to make the Kumbh a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This report tells you why it's time to head to Prayagraj.
Every 12 years, the city of Prayagraj comes alive to host the Kumbh Mela, one of the largest religious gatherings in the world. But 2025 is not like any other Kumbh Mela. The rare planetary placement this year has made it the most auspicious in 144 years. The moon, sun, Mercury and Jupiter aligning together makes the Mahakumbh the most auspicious Kumbh Mela, essentially a once-in-a-lifetime experience, attracting all those who wish to experience the gathering and its significance, either out of their religious beliefs or just out of curiosity. The scale of the Mahakumbh is mind-boggling. 400 million, or the entire size of Europe, is expected to visit in just 45 days. And more than 7 crore people have already taken the holy dip at the Triveni, one of the most sacred places in Hinduism, one where the 3 holy rivers of Ganga, Jamuna and Saraswati come together. It is believed that a dip at Triveni allows one to wash away their sins of this life and align with the path of salvation or moksha. something that people world over are flocking to achieve. The global appeal of Kumbh is for all to see. With Sanskrit having found roots in Germany, Poland, Japan, and many other countries, foreign tourists and believers have flocked in from over 180 countries. There are a large number of foreign tourists and believers all over Maha.
Very excited because it's such a huge opportunity to take part in this Kumbh.
We were surprised, it's so nicely arranged.
I feel like we came to a very pure place.
The sheer numbers are unnerving. Imagine the size of Portugal congregating at a single place on a single day. This has been possible since Kumbh is witnessing the perfect blend of tradition with technology. From using AI tools to monitoring 1,800 CCTV footage, to deployment of drones, to mobile tracking apps, to estimate crowd via active devices. Kumbh is witnessing all of it. The successful running of the Kumbh is testimony to India's ability to conduct big-ticket, large events where millions come at one point. Everyone from the Naga sadhus to the billionaires, from global celebrities to the common man, are at the Sangam Ghat in search for the ultimate peace and salvation. And along the way, they are experiencing the cultural extravaganza of this festival, showcasing India's rich, diverse, and ancient cultural heritage passed on through generations and centuries.
All right, viewers, as we wrap things up, on your screens is the QR code. Scan it for all the latest stories, views, news, perspectives, and the big interviews. That's all the time I have in this edition of India Sense. Thanks so much for watching, viewers. Thank you, and see you next week.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
Hello and welcome to the best of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. For 2 decades, NDTV has been a window to the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, Nobel laureates and stars at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
From Bill Gates to Shakira to Randy Zuckerberg to top ministers, to what is often the biggest story, India, a global economic powerhouse. Conversations around our greatest challenges, from AI to wars to sustainability. Join us, NDTV's Vishnu Shom and me, Neeraj Shah, as we engage with the world's finest. NDTV at Davos from January 20th to January 25th.
All set for Trump 2.0. Countdown to January 20th. Terror shadow, visa wars. All the twists and turns. Tracking Trump takeover. Every day at 10:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
Maha Kumbh, the festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip at the spiritual Sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha Kumbh 2025.
Kind attention, please. Delhi Election Metro 2025 is arriving on People's Platform. Please mind the gap. BJP or AAP, who will get to the Delhi Secretariat station?
दरवाजे बाईं तरफ खुलेंगे.
Who will Delhi voters open the victory doors for? And who will be shown the door? Can the BJP throw AAP's victory run off track? Or will it be Kejriwal's ticket to win again? Can Congress take the election metro to revival?
Arjikar rape and murder case verdict is out. The volunteer in the hospital, Sanjay Roy, has been convicted. Arguments on punishment to take place on Monday. Three days on, Saif Ali Khan's attacker is still on the run. 30 teams have been formed by the cops. Kareena Kapoor gave her statement saying that she saw the attacker attacking Saif Ali Khan repeatedly. Prime Minister Modi launches Swamitva scheme, distributing over 65 lakh property cards to people. The scheme is expected to benefit over 50,000. A day to go for Donald Trump's swearing in. Trump's inauguration has been moved indoors due to bad weather. And Champions Trophy squad has been announced. Shubman Gill to be the vice captain. Bumrah is in team. He is still unfit. Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. My name is Kitty Behl. A local court in Kolkata has found Sanjay Roy, who was a 33-year-old civic police volunteer, guilty in the gruesome rape and murder case of a trainee doctor at the state-run Arjikar hospital. He will be sentenced on Monday, bringing closure to the brutal incident that had shaken the nation earlier. In a 160-page judgment, the court in Salda convicted Roy under sections of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita that deal with rape, murder and causing death. Well, also the information that's coming in at the moment is that after the judgment was read out, the victim's father broke down in the court telling the judge that you've honored the faith that I reposed in you. Well, remember, Sanjay Roy, the accused in the case and now the convict, repeated his claim that he was being framed as his lawyers tried to calm him down. When he was being taken out, he claimed that a certain IPS also knew everything. Well, that's the latest coming in at the moment. We have my colleague Saurabh Gupta also getting us more on that. Saurabh, now accused Sanjay Roy has been found guilty. We believe the arguments on punishment will be taking place on Monday. What happened in the court? Take us through the details.
Well, a little before 2:30, which was the fixed time for the court to pronounce its verdict, Sanjay Roy, the main accused, was brought into court amidst tight security. The courtroom was, of course, crowded with lawyers and, of course, also members of the press who were covering the proceedings. Now, the court started pronouncing the order. As it started pronouncing the order, it addressed the accused and read out all the charges that Sanjay Roy, the accused, had been booked under. The Arjikor rape and murder accused Sanjay Roy was then convicted. The court said it found him guilty, and of course this is the additional district and sessions court in Sialda, and the judge Anirban Das delivered the verdict in the open courtroom, even though the trial has been held in camera, which means it was not open to anyone. The verdict was delivered in the open courtroom. The accused was found guilty, and Sanjay Roy was convicted under section 64, 66 and 103(1) of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Now, obviously, the accused was stoic when the verdict was passed, but then the court asked him if he had something to say after the verdict was announced, and he said, "I am being framed. I wear a Rudrakshmala. If I had committed that crime, that would have broken. What justice can I expect?" Then he said, I haven't done this. Why are those who did it being allowed to go? At this point, the court said, "I will hear you on Monday." But he said, "One IPS knows everything. Why am I not being allowed to speak?" At this point, Sanjay Roy's lawyers asked him to calm down, and the court, of course, said that, they would hear him on Monday, and asked the police to escort him out of court. Now, the judgment, the court said, is about 160 pages. It won't be uploaded today, given the fact that, it's a Saturday, and, certified copies won't be available of the judgment. But the sentencing arguments will take place at 12:30 on Monday, and after that, the sentence or the punishment, the quantum of punishment, will be announced. The judge did make certain observations in court while explaining the structure of the court verdict, and he said that I have criticized some activities of the police authorities and the hospital authorities that came out during the evidence. The judge observed, and this is important, that the activities of the HOD, MSVP and the principal have created some confusion, and that has been criticized. Okay. The judge also said that, the matter will be taken up on Monday. And lastly, the lawyer, the family of the victim, you have shown full respect to the fate we reposed in you, and that's where the court proceedings ended today.
All right, so the court has said that it is going to hear the arguments on the punishments on Monday, and remember, the convict in the case, Sanjay Roy, has been claiming innocence. But this does contradict his initial confession of the crime, and the BJP also earlier had said that there was evidence that was destroyed. The CBI team had taken over the probe from the Kolkata police, remember. There was concern of destruction of evidence, and well, this is what the BJP also has been saying, and what many have been pointing out is that there could have been more people involved. But since the Kolkata police was first probing the case, and it investigated the case for almost 5 days, after which the CBI had taken over, many have pointed out that the evidence was destroyed in the prelim inquiry. But well, this is definitely big that is coming in at the moment. The accused in the case, Sanjay Roy, has been found guilty. Shifting our focus now to some more news that is coming in. This is big breaking news now coming in at the moment. India's Champions Trophy squad has been announced. Big breaking news that we are learning of. Rohit Sharma is in the India squad. He's retained the captaincy spot. Shubman Gill will be the vice captain, and Bumrah is also in the team. Remember, he's still unfit, but he has been retained in the team. Well, Mohammad Shami is back in the team. There were speculations earlier that Mohammad Shami would be back, and now this is the latest that's coming in at the moment. Well, the Champions Trophy squad has been announced. My colleague Rika Roy joining us on the broadcast here. Rika, all eyes have been on this announcement, and now finally the squad that has been announced for India's Champions Trophy. These are the names that have come out. Take us through the details here.
Well, yes, Kitty, the big news is that
Rohit Sharma is going to be captaining India in Champions Trophy, so he retains the white ball captaincy. Of course, the last time India played an ICC tournament in 50 overs format, they reached the final, which was the final of the 50 overs World Cup, and they went on to lose against Australia. So there was no doubt that Rohit Sharma would lead Team India in the Champions Trophy as well. But the big news also is that Jasprit Bumrah, despite not being 100% fit, he remains in the team. Of course, BCCI will give us a detail of his well-being and how well he can or how fast he can get ready for the Champions Trophy, which is slated for a start on the 19th. Of course, India plays Pakistan on the 23rd of February. So it's next month, still some time to go for Jasprit Bumrah to get fit. Mohammad Shami, who was injured for a very long time now, for almost 1.5 years, he returns to the team in white ball format once again. Apart from that, India has relied on 4 fast bowlers for this edition of the Mini World Cup. Overall, here's what the team looks like, with Shubman Gill as the deputy, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul, Hardik Pandya, Washington Sundar, Kuldeep Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah, Akshar Patel, Mohammad Shami, Arshdeep Singh, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Rishabh Pant and Ravindra Jadeja. The other big thing that of course, Rohit Sharma and Ajit Agarkar, who are addressing the press conference, was asked about the whole controversy around players being given a diktat to go back to domestic cricket. Ajit Agarkar said that it is not really a diktat, but it is understood whoever is free at whatever time will go back to domestic cricket and will play some domestic cricket, because that also strengthens the domestic structure. Rohit Sharma cited his own example, saying that ever since he's been regular on the circuit, since 2019, he's been a regular in all formats of the game. He said that he hardly ever found a window to go back to domestic cricket and hone his skills because the domestic calendar also coincides with India's international calendar, and they haven't had a very long gap, for example, a 45-day gap when they would get back to domestic cricket. Also, Sharma said that it is important for a player to rest out and recuperate during the taxing international schedule. So perhaps with the kind of schedule they have had and the rest period they needed, they didn't manage to play Ranji Trophy. But in the upcoming round of Ranji Trophy, which starts on 23rd of this month, many of the top stars will be seen getting back to domestic cricket. Okay, so Rohit Sharma is all set to lead India in the tournament, and Jasprit Bumrah has also been included in the squad. This is also quite interesting. Bumrah, we do understand, has been dealing with a back injury, and there have been question marks also over his availability also. But we do understand now that the squad has been announced for the Champions Trophy, it is very much likely that Jasprit Bumrah may miss the England ODIs. Well, there is a likelihood that Jasprit Bumrah will not play the England series to give him enough time to rest and recover. Remember, he got injured during the Sydney test, which was the last test of the Border Gavaskar Trophy, after having bowled over 150 overs during the tour, and the talk was around his workload. Maybe his workload management was not done in the way it was meant to have done. He was the highest wicket taker of the series, the man of the series during the Border Gavaskar Trophy. He picked up over 30 wickets, became the highest wicket taker in Australia by an Indian. But despite all the laurels that he had, he picked up that injury, and he will take some time to pull up now and get ready to play for India.
Mohammad Shami is back. He has been included in the team. How does that strengthen the India's Champions Trophy squad?
Well, if you really go back and see how Mohammad Shami had bowled in the last World Cup with Bumrah as his bowling partner, it really gives the team and its fans a lot of hope of recreating the magic of the last World Cup and perhaps getting over the finish line this time around in Champions Trophy, something that remained a dream for them in the 50 overs format. Later last year, in fact, a year after that crushing loss, they went on to win the T20 World Cup, but then 50 over still remains an elusive dream with Mohammad Shami in the team, perhaps, and Jasprit Bumrah firing at the same time. Perhaps India can dream of what was not achieved 2 years ago.
But you know what is also interesting to watch here is that there has been no place for Sanju Samson and Mohammad Siraj. Well, these were two names which were expected to feature in the India squad, because we've seen how they've been a constant part of India's recent squads, but they've not been named as a backup even.
Well, you know, one can only take a 15-member team because that's stipulated by the ICC.
Right.
Sanju Samson does not really get a place because KL Rahul will perhaps be the number one choice for wicketkeeper batsman, and Rishabh Pant being number 2. So there are anyway 2 wicketkeepers in the team. Mohammad Siraj perhaps didn't get a place because Hardik Pandya has been brought in, and he gives that cushion to the Indian batting, to the Indian batters, because with him India has an all-rounder, has an extra all-rounder and not just a bowler. So 4 fast bowlers, and Hardik Pandya will come in the role of a fast bowling all-rounder here, and thereby Mohammad Siraj did not find any place in this team.
All right. Thank you so much, Rika, for getting us all those details there. Well, that was the big announcement made just a while back. Now, well, India's Champions Trophy squad has been announced. There has been a lot of controversy around it. But yes, finally, the Champions Trophy now taking place, and the squad also has been announced. Rohit Sharma is going to lead the India squad, retaining the captaincy spot. Also, Shubman Gill will be the vice captain. Bumrah is in team. There have been a lot of speculations around Jasprit Bumrah's entry. And also Mohammad Shami is back in the team as well. Well, all right, that's the big announcement made by the selectors earlier. We'll keep an eye on the developments. It's time for a quick break. Yeah.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
Well, I'm in Altadena. This is one of the worst hit areas. When disaster strikes, NDTV World brings you exclusive on-the-ground reports straight from the heart of the action.
A neighborhood in Los Angeles that has been devastated by fire.
I just received an emergency alert extreme, which has come on my phone. Stay tuned for NDTV World's in-depth coverage as we bring you the real stories from Los Angeles. This is the Altadena area, and there are still fires, and there's a lot of smoke in the area. These houses completely gutted. This is reporting that matters only on NDTV World.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital, Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Maha Kumbh, the festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip at the spiritual Sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha Kumbh 2025.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
Hello and welcome to the best of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. For 2 decades, NDTV has been a window to the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, Nobel laureates and stars at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
From Bill Gates to Shakira to Randy Zuckerberg to top ministers to what is often the biggest story, India, a global economic powerhouse. Conversations around our greatest challenges from AI to wars to sustainability. Join us, NDTV's Vishnu Shom and me, Neeraj Shah, as we engage with the world's finest. NDTV at Davos from January 20th to January 25th.
All set for Trump 2.0.
Welcome back after the break. In the latest update in the Saif Ali Khan stabbing case, now more than 60 hours have passed since the Bollywood actor was attacked, but the accused remains at large. Well, we have latest visuals also that have come in from the hospital with Kareena Kapoor Khan seen leaving from the hospital. What we are learning at the moment is that Sharmila Tagore and Sara Ali Khan have already left while Kareena Kapoor Khan was still in the hospital. Saif Ali Khan is out of danger. He was shifted from ICU to the normal ward just yesterday, remember, and he is still in the hospital. It might take him a few days more to be discharged from the hospital, and as per the information, 15 plus individuals have been questioned by the police in this case. This includes statements that have been recorded of all the staff members, the auto rickshaw driver. Also Kareena Kapoor Khan's statement has been recorded. All right, my colleague Radhika is joining us live on the broadcast. She is at Saif Ali Khan's residence getting us all the latest update about the movement there. Well, Radhika, what's happening? What more can you tell us about the details of the case?
That's right. A team of police officials have been stationed inside Saif Ali Khan's residence since morning. In fact, they have been gathering a lot of evidence and questioning people from the nearby areas, including some of the vendors here as well as shopkeepers. They have been showing them photograph of this particular accused in order to understand if anybody could identify him or if he was spotted somewhere around this particular area soon after the incident or over the last couple of days. So therefore, teams being deployed in different areas across the city, outside of the city, but in Bandra also. We did see a couple of police officials, speaking to many of the shopkeepers and vendors over the last couple of hours. So that's one thing. And secondly, statement recording is also taking place of a rickshaw driver at the moment. Very importantly, Kareena Kapoor's statement was recorded yesterday. She's gave the sequence of events as far as this entire incident is concerned, and also, spoke about how this attacker was aggressive. He did not take any valuables, but he repeatedly attacked Saif Ali Khan. So yes, sequence of events being spoken about by Kareena Kapoor. Many of the statements recorded, questioning of several people have happened. Yesterday we saw how 2 people were questioned, one a history sheeter, another a carpenter, but they've been given a clean chit. It's been more than 48 hours, absolutely no trace of this attacker, multiple teams being formed, people being questioned, statement recording happening, CCTV evidence being collected, technical evidence being collected, phones being examined, but as of now, no breakthrough.
Kareena Kapoor Khan also left from the Lilavati hospital a while back. We believe Sharmila Tagore is already at the house. Are they back at this very same residence? Are the kids also staying?
We believe that Kareena Kapoor
at the house
has left from Lilavati hospital. Yeah, and Sharmila Tagore and Sara have also left from Lilavati hospital. But we don't know their locations yet. We know for a fact that Kareena Kapoor was here for a bit yesterday, but she could have been staying in a different place, either with her sister, or with her in-laws. So yes, okay. As far as their locations are concerned, we're not entirely certain, but a lot of people have been visiting Saif Ali Khan, who is currently recuperating in the hospital.
All right. Thank you so much, Radhika, for getting us all those details there. We'll come back to you later for more. Meanwhile, that's the latest that we're picking up at the moment. Shifting our focus to some more news, a voice note of ousted Bangladesh Premier Sheikh Hasina describing how she and her sister escaped death when she fled the country last August has been shared online by her Awami League party. In a trembling voice, the 77-year-old leader was heard praising Allah for saving her as she accused her political opponents of conspiring to get her killed. Listen in.
যে বেঁচে গেলাম মাত্র 20-25 মিনিটের একটা ব্যবধানে আমরা মৃত্যুর হাত থেকে রক্ষা পেয়েছি। আমার শুধু এটাই মনে হয় যে 21 আগস্টের হত্যাকাণ্ডের থেকে বেঁচে যাওয়া বা কোটিরপাড়া ওই বিশাল বোমের হাত থেকে বেঁচে যাওয়া, আবার এই 5ই আগস্ট এই বেঁচে যাওয়ার পিছনে নিশ্চয়ই আল্লাহর কোনো একটা ইচ্ছা আছে, আল্লাহর কোনো হাত আছে। নইলে এবারে তো বেঁচে যাওয়ার কথা না, তারা যেভাবে প্ল্যান করেছিল।
All right, with that, it's time for a quick break here. More news and updates continue on the other side. Stay tuned.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं।
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी।
Maha, the festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip and the spiritual sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha 2025.
Kind attention, please. Delhi Election Metro 2025 is arriving on People's Platform. BJP or AAP, who will get to the Delhi Secretariat station?
दरवाजे बाईं तरफ खुलेंगे.
Who will Delhi voters open the victory doors for? And who will be shown the door? Can the BJP throw AAP's victory run off track? Or will it be Kejriwal's ticket to win again? Can Congress take the election metro to revival? We will track it all for you. Delhi's decision destination.
Doors will open on the left.
Stay tuned to NDTV for mega metro poll coverage.
Well, I'm in Altadena. This is one of the worst hit areas. When disaster strikes, NDTV World brings you exclusive on-the-ground reports straight from the heart of the action.
A neighborhood in Los Angeles that has been devastated by fire.
I just received an emergency alert extreme, which has come on my phone. Stay tuned for NDTV World's in-depth coverage as we bring you the real stories from Los Angeles. This is the Altadena area, and there are still fires, and there's a lot of smoke in the area. These houses completely gutted. This is reporting that matters only on NDTV World.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
Maha Kumbh, the festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip at the spiritual Sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha Kumbh 2025.
अगर मुझे इस महाकुंभ का वर्णन एक वाक्य में करना हो तो मैं कहूंगा ये एकता का ऐसा महायज्ञ होगा जिसकी चर्चा पूरी दुनिया में होगी।
संग संग चले हैं ढोल मंजीरे संग चंग गंग नगरी बम 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 लहरी।
अजर हो गया है अमर हो गया है शहर तंबुओं का शहर हो गया है महाकुंभ की आस्थाओं में घूम।
ये जनता के बड़े सौभाग्य की बात है।
आस्थाओं में डूबा
ये एकता का प्रतीक है।
The largest gathering of pilgrims and devotees on earth has begun. Lakhs of seers and Naga sadhus from across the world have assembled in the historic city of Prayagraj to celebrate the biggest Mahakumbh in history. It is a global congregation of seers at Mahakumbh this time. Naga sadhu Anjana Giri is from Italy. She has come to Mahakumbh with thousands of seers of Atal Akhada, one of the most ancient akhadas.
What is the significance of Mahakumbh for you?
It's a big festival.
Big festival?
Yeah. Yeah.
From which country?
Italy.
इटली से आए हो आप?
जी.
अच्छा. तो ये पहला महाकुंभ है आपका?
हाँ, पहले महाकुंभ.
रिलीजियस सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है इसका आपके लिए? महाकुंभ आपके लिए?
ये तो 3 नदी का जॉइंट है, मतलब all together we can make a good things.
सिरों को नहीं भाव सागर को देखो, धारा पावनी पीयूष गागर को देखो.
Around 40 crore pilgrims are expected to take part in history's biggest Mahakumbh in the historic city of Prayagraj. As millions of pilgrims congregate from more than 50 countries to take a holy dip at Sangam, they are also witnessing the most green and sustainable Mahakumbh ever organized. From Prayagraj city to Mahakumbh Mela ground, the walls are covered with colorful messages of sustainability and the importance of no plastic use.
One time use plastic, एवं पॉलीथीन का प्रयोग नहीं करेंगे.
A special campaign has been initiated to promote the idea of sustainability and sensitize common citizens and visiting pilgrims.
कितना शौचालय इस बार, कितना शौचालय का निर्माण?
1.5 लाख शौचालय बनाए गए हैं, जो पिछली बार की अपेक्षा लगभग 1.5 गुना है.
1.5 गुना ज्यादा है. और सभी घाटों पे भी आपने इंतजाम किया?
इंतजाम किया.
50 घाट हैं.
जी हाँ, जी.
Lakhs of trees have been planted in Prayagraj to make it a green city. In this AI-powered digital control room, officials are monitoring the implementation of UP government's mega cleanliness drive across Prayagraj city and the Mahakumbh Mela ground.
Absolutely. It will be very green. We're not only doing a seminar or a conference on that, but we are ensuring that plantations, no use of plastic, use of materials, which are very friendly that way, restricted use of electricity, and in the matters of, using for the street lights, the banned use of plastics of that micron size will absolutely not be permitted. And we've seized a large number of such materials already, but we are encouraging and making people aware on how to use these, alternate materials in lieu of plastic.
The message of sustainability is visible everywhere, from colorful posters painted on city walls to the Mahakumbh Mela ground, where thousands of temporary housing tents have been constructed with natural recyclable materials. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath personally came to inaugurate this Kumbh village.
महाकुंभ के आयोजन के साथ अब एक नया उत्तर प्रदेश लोगों को दिखेगा, जो विरासत और विकास के साथ जुड़ते हुए पूरी दुनिया को अपनी ओर आकर्षित करेगा. और उस आकर्षण का केंद्र बिंदु देश के अंदर उत्तर प्रदेश, दुनिया के अंदर भारत, और भारत के अंदर उत्तर प्रदेश बनने जा रहा है. उसके लिए हम सबको अपने आप को तैयार करना होगा.
A sustainable tent city with specially constructed 200 recyclable green tents. This has been designated a no plastic zone.
200 tents की प्रॉपर्टी बनाई है और ये 6 एकड़ लैंड में है ऑन द बैंक्स ऑफ द रिवर गंगा, और इसमें करीब 400 लोग एक दिन में हम लोग केटर कर सकते हैं. वी वांट टू ब्रिंग ग्रीन. हमने प्लास्टिक कहीं भी यूज़ नहीं किया है. वी हैव ग्लास बॉटल्स, वी हैव ये हमारे जो डिस्पेंसर्स भी हैं वो हम नॉर्मल प्लास्टिक बॉटल्स नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम डिस्पेंसर सिस्टम रख रहे हैं.
तो एक नया एक्सपेरिमेंट है. दिस इज अ टेंट जो कि ग्रीन है और इसमें प्लास्टिक का इस्तेमाल नहीं किया आपने? हाँ,
एवरीथिंग इज आइदर वुडन.
हाँ, ओके. और ये किस कैटेगरी का रूम है?
सर ये प्रीमियम कैटेगरी है. दिस इज अ टॉप कैटेगरी रूम्स, एंड इसमें अगर आप देखोगे वी हैव अ स्मॉल बेड, सिटिंग एरिया, अ लगेज एरिया. जी, तो हम लोग इसमें ये 2 लोगों के लिए है. 2 लोगों के लिए है जी.
और ये लग्जरी सेगमेंट वाला टेंट
जी
है.
सर.
तो इसका कितना फेयर रखा आपने?
अराउंड 35,000 रुपीज अ नाइट.
35,000.
सो दीज आर ऑल वाटरप्रूफ कैनवस.
अच्छा, वाटरप्रूफ कैनवस. जी, मतलब अगर बारिश भी होती है तो
कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी. वी आर नॉट यूजिंग वो छोटी वाली प्लास्टिक बॉटल्स जो होटल में होती हैं. वी आर ऑल डूइंग डिस्पेंसर्स एंड ग्लास बॉटल्स एंड एवरीथिंग. तो
दिस इज कंप्लीटली ग्रीन.
यस.
Sustainability is a major theme of Mahakumbh 2025, with a focus also on promoting renewable energy sources. In a 400 crore ambitious mega electricity plan, the thrust is on promoting solar lighting systems. thousands of hybrid solar bulbs have been installed in the 17-kilometer long and 14-kilometer wide Mahakumbh Mela ground.
हम लोग 2000 सोलर हाइब्रिड लाइट लगा रहे हैं। बेसिकली हाइब्रिड लाइट की परिकल्पना हम लोगों ने 1 साल पहले की थी और इसको माघ मेले में ट्रायल भी किया था। इसका फ़ायदा ये रहता है कि मेला चूंकि जब होता है तो उस समय फॉगी रहता है, तो सोलर की चार्जिंग नहीं हो पाती, इसलिए हम लोग हाइब्रिड पे गए। हाइब्रिड के कारण वो बिजली से भी चार्ज होता है और जब धूप रहती है तो सोलर से भी चार्ज होता है। ये लाइट स्वतः शाम होते ही अपने आप ऑन हो जाती है।
Guinness Book of World Record holder and international moustache dancer Rajendra Tiwari Dukanji is the brand ambassador of Swachhata during Mahakumbh. He's roaming around the Mahakumbh Mela ground wearing colorful placards with one message: use cotton bags in place of plastic bags.
मैं ज़्यादातर पूरे शहर में हर जगह प्रोग्राम रैली में घूम कर लोगों को जागरूक करता हूं। संतों महात्माओं कल्पवासियों से निवेदन कर रहे हैं कि इस बार का महाकुंभ पॉलीथीन मुक्त रहेगा, इसलिए आप सभी से निवेदन है कि आप मिट्टी के कुल्हड़ और ग्लास और कागज के कप ग्लास का प्रयोग करें।
To make Mahakumbh 2025 a plastic-free and sustainable event, lakhs of plates and bags from across the country are being distributed to the devotees under the Ek Thali Ek Bag campaign. 9 ghats have been reconstructed to make them more sustainable and environment-friendly. Mahakumbh brand ambassador Dukanji says pilgrims should not throw flowers and other puja material in the river.
माँ गंगा में माला फूल हवन सामग्री न डालें, लेकिन जब मैं ये शब्द कहता हूँ तो यहाँ की जितनी सम्मानित नागरिक हैं वो हमसे ये कहते हैं कि माँ गंगा में माला फूल डालने से गंदगी नहीं होती है। हमने कहा ये बात सही है। गेंदा का फूल और गुलाब का फूल इतने केमिकल के माध्यम से वो बड़े हो रहे हैं और जब वो फूल माला हम गंगा जी में डालते हैं, माँ गंगा चिल्ला के कह रही हैं, मेरे प्यारे भक्तों, अगर इसी तरह आप हमारे पर प्रदूषण करते रहेंगे तो मैं एक दिन इस धरती से और प्रयागराज की पावन धरती से चली जाऊंगी।
Clearly, Mahakumbh 2025 is all set to be the most eco-friendly, sustainable and green Mahakumbh ever. A truly sustainable experience for millions of pilgrims. With Himanshu Shekhar and Sachin Gupta in Prayagraj, Anasya Mathur for NDTV.
All set for Trump 2.0. Countdown to January 20th. Terror shadow, visa wars. All the twists and turns. Tracking Trump takeover. Every day at 10:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
Hello and welcome to the best of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
For 2 decades, NDTV has been a window to the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, Nobel laureates and stars at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
From Bill Gates to Shakira to Randy Zuckerberg to top ministers to what is often the biggest story, India, a global economic powerhouse. Conversations around our greatest challenges from AI to wars to sustainability. Join us, NDTV's Vishnu Shom and me, Neeraj Shah, as we engage with the world's finest. NDTV at Davos from January 20th to January 25th.
All set for Trump 2.0. Countdown to January 20th. Terror shadow, visa wars. All the twists and turns. Tracking Trump takeover. Every day at 10:30 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
We are able to maintain the democratic fabric and the democratic system.
I want to do something that can make a difference.
लगातार जनता की आवाज को सरकार तक पहुंचाने का काम मैं करता हूं.
I was a student up until very recently. I really want to work and do something for my people because they have given me this opportunity. They have elected me.
सोचा नहीं था कि राज्यसभा सांसद बनूंगी.
Maha Kumbh, the festival of faith, the world's biggest spiritual festival, the divine dip at the spiritual Sangam, a sacred confluence of faith, culture and heritage. NDTV's mega coverage of the Mega Fest. NDTV at Maha Kumbh 2025.
Kind attention, please. Delhi Election Metro 2025 is arriving on People's Platform. Please mind the gap. BJP or AAP, who will get to the Delhi Secretariat station?
दरवाजे बाईं तरफ खुलेंगे.
I recommend more and more of you come to realizing Atma within ourselves and who we truly are.
Kumbh is for all of us who come here to receive an upliftment of consciousness. Just amazed. My expectation, it's beyond my expectation and what I could have imagined.
The biggest congregation of pilgrims and devotees in human history at Maha Kumbh 2025 is making headlines across the globe. As thousands of Indian and foreign pilgrims arrive from more than 50 countries, Maha Kumbh has emerged as a global platform to showcase India's cultural and spiritual identity on the global stage. The idea of a new India, the rising India, the vision of a Viksit Bharat is visible everywhere at the Maha Kumbh ground. While inaugurating development projects for Maha Kumbh 2025, Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted that Maha Kumbh would take the spiritual and cultural identity of the nation to new heights, arguing that the Maha Yagya of unity would be discussed around the world.
हर रोज लाखों श्रद्धालुओं के स्वागत और सेवा की तैयारी लगातार 45 दिनों तक चलने वाला महायज्ञ एक नया नगर बसाने का महाअभियान प्रयागराज की इस धरती पर एक नया इतिहास रचा जा रहा है.
From a young skydiver in Prayagraj, Anamika Sharma, jumping from 13,000 feet in Bangkok with a Maha Kumbh flag, to the Indian missions abroad popularizing the idea of a